also. But yes, I hope everyone is well. Hope everyone is looking forward to another wrestling show, another day, another wrestling show. Let me copy this into here. And yeah, not loads of news, to be honest. Like the White Rabbit stuff has largely played out. I've been asked all day, like, is there any other news? Is there any other theories? And to be honest, there's a few bits and bobs, but nothing that major. Nothing that's really, like, that mind-blowing. Like, a few little bits, which, you know, are just nice coincidences, or there might be something in that, but nothing that really changes anything or blows anyone's minds or anything like that. So it's all the major stuff has seemingly been found now, and I think, like, we're pretty much ready for the next clue. So yeah, I mean, we've spoke a lot about it. We can talk more about it on this stream. I feel like Bray is a front runner and out on his own at the moment. But yeah, Alexa Bliss is still in the mix as well. Of course, it could be a troll job like Corbin. I don't think it's going to be that, but you can't completely rule that out. And of course, it could be someone new. I don't think it's Alistair. Alistair Black has made it quite clear, or Malachi Black has made it quite clear, that he's not done with AEW. Tony Khan has made it quite clear that Alistair Black's not done with AEW, Malachi Black. So I don't think it's going to be him. But yeah, Bray, I mean, it's becoming more and more likely that it is going to be him. And I think that Extreme Rules is looking pretty good. So Extreme Rules could be where we finally get that reveal. Any chance of microwaving another figure, says Finbar? No, there's no chance of that. I did the first one to see what it was like. I mean, I was genuinely interested to know what would happen, and I got my answer, and it was horrific. And we've spoke about it before. The whole flat filled with smoke. That was one figure, and I had to have my head out the window to try and breathe. I promise I'm not just saying that. It was horrific. It was toxic, and no one should ever do it. So, yes, no, I've got no desire to repeat that anytime soon. Hasn't it been suspiciously too easy to connect White Rabbit to Bray, said Dark Angel. That's a really good point, actually, Bud. That's a really good point, but I think you only have to look at the Edge one to see that that's not a concern for WWE. You know, when this first dropped, Bray was, like, everyone's top suspect. I thought that there were links to other people, including Carrion, because of, like, the hourglass, the demon at the bottom, Finn Balor, blah, blah, blah. But obviously Bray has always been in the conversation because this is a very Bray cryptic clue kind of thing. You know, it just feels and screams like Bray Wyatt. So I've always understood why Bray fans have got so excited from the start. I think you only have to have a look at the Edge vignettes, which were quite easy. When you sat down and watched them and actually saw the different wrestlers that were being showcased, I think it was quite easy then to see that they were all major feuds that Edge had. That was quite obvious from the very first one. Then the conversation became like, well, he's not coming back alone, is he? Like, they wouldn't do this just for Edge. And then, you know, people were thinking that they were spotting puppets in the vignettes. People were thinking like the sixes meant something. I must admit, I saw the red light being used during, like, when they showed Seth, and that was enough for me to go, okay, well, maybe there is something more. Maybe there is something more, because that's cheeky. That's really cheeky. I think if you're going to show Seth Rollins and it's going to have a red light, like when you do it, like on the picture, I think you know what you're doing at that point. I think that could have been a coincidence, of course, but I definitely think there was a few things put in those Edge ones to make you think that it was going to be someone else, maybe Bray Wyatt and whatever. But of course, it turned out to be Edge. We've spoke about it quite a bit because, you know, that was very Bray in its feel as well with those vignettes. So, yeah, look, if this turns out to be Bray, then you can say that it was a bit, you know, obvious that it was going to go that way. I definitely looked to see if there was anything else there. And we have found stuff, in all fairness. We have found stuff. There was a good few theories going into that third clue. That third clue, though, with the Wyndham location, the let me in, hotel or whatever it is. These things that have been found that are like seemingly very Bray, those are very hard to ignore, and I wouldn't want to ignore them. And so, as I said, the fact Edge came back as well, the fact that Edge, there was not really anything in there that connected to Edge in that third one, and then Edge came back on the show on Monday, eliminates Edge, and Edge was the closest person I had as to who this could have been for. And so once he gets eliminated, the gap between first and who's second place for me is probably Alexa, but she's quite far down just because there hasn't been loads that has connected to Alexa recently. You could make a few connections at the start, but there hasn't been loads recently. So that gap's now quite wide. So yeah, it could be super obvious, as you say, like that it's super easy to connect it to Bray, but that's exactly what happened with the Edge vignettes, and they weren't that long ago. Vape Ross Vape said, I am in an Uber and I'm going to tonight's show. LFG. OMG. Vape Ross Vape, have a great time. We can talk about tonight's show. Might as well have a quick little look at it, because I do have it lined up. We've got, the lineup. We've got Saraya. I really, again, I want to have a look. She says how you pronounce her name. So I think I've been saying Saraya, but I think it's Saraya. So I will have a look at that. Chris Jericho is taking on Bandido for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Jon Moxley is taking on Juice Robinson. That is, I don't know what that's for, actually. Oh, it's AEW World Championship Eliminator match. So if Juice Robinson wins, he doesn't get the championship, but I'm guessing he earns a shot at the championship. We've got MJF going to appear, and we've got an AEW Interim Women's World Championship match. Toni Storm is taking on Serena Deeb. So we do have a championship match tonight. So and that is going to be for the women. So normally there's a little bit more than that. There's normally a bit more that's shown, but five things. 2 of them promos, 3 matches. The 3 matches have all got title implications. So not a bad lineup at all for a Wednesday night. It's not a bad lineup. Obviously, we are coming off the back of Grand Slam that was very special. So it might feel like a bit of a step down, but we was spoilt last week, and what a show, man! What a show! Really exciting stuff. I mean, I did not expect Saraya AKA Paige to be rocking up. That one really caught me off guard. But brilliant that she's here. I'm just trying to find the one where she tells us how you pronounce her name. It's pronounced Saraya. There you go. It's pronounced Saraya. That's had 15,000 likes. I'm going to retweet it, actually. There we go. If anyone wants to know how to pronounce her name, I've just retweeted it. It's pronounced Saraya. What have I been calling her? I've been calling her Saraya. Saraya is how you pronounce it. Okay. Message received. Mitchell, hello, buds. Hello. Mitchell said, tuning in until I lose power. Hurricane Ian is battering us in Florida. Hope to watch AEW, but they are calling 21 inches of rain. Damn. Yeah, everyone in Florida, stay safe, obviously, with this Hurricane Ian. I've not seen loads about it, obviously, sat here in the UK, but I think there was something that was mentioned on the BBC website. You know me, guys. I love BBC. Absolutely love it. That is my favorite website. It's where I get all my news from. So, I think there might have been, yes. Yeah. I'm going to actually live on stream right now. I'm going to show you BBC live on stream so that we can enjoy it together. But there's the BBC homepage. So something to do with the Treasury, super boring. Something to do with mental health, something to do with banks. But then right there, top story, catastrophic floods in Florida as hurricane lands. So it is. I mean, it's massive news. It's even making like one of the top stories over here in the UK, that live coverage of it as well. So yes, stay safe, everyone. I know that you get a fair few storms in Florida, but I must admit it's very rare for us to actually get them reported on the BBC website. So stay safe. How do you ride out a hurricane? This is information from BBC. Have a working flashlight and spare batteries. Charge your mobile phone and portable charger. Bring things inside that can fly away, like garden furniture. Close windows and board them up. I don't know if you've gone to those steps. But and once the hurricane hits, stay in the room with the fewest doors and windows. Avoid the basement. There is a risk of flooding. Hey, that's kind of important, isn't it? Avoid the basement. There is a risk of flooding. Avoid using candles in case of fire. Keep in touch with latest updates from officials. So, awful. So, stay safe. Stay safe, Florida. TLA says, evening days, how are you doing? I'm doing good, but I'm doing good. I must admit, I would have liked a little bit more White Rabbit information today. I would have liked a little bit more for us to get our teeth into. I really was looking to do like a separate video, but I don't want to put stuff out to waste your time. I know that people love the White Rabbit stuff and love all the theories and everything, but if I don't think there's anything that's like that major, I mean, there's been some nice little theories, some nice little, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I can see a little connection there, or yeah, that's all right. But I mean, I don't know. It does not match the standard of what's been found, like the big, reveals that we've already covered. So, yeah, I'm not gonna waste your time. Basically, I'm not gonna put something out for the sake of just doing it. So, yeah, nothing on that front. But that's all right. That's all right. That sets us up all right for Friday, and we've got a nice clean slate. So, yeah, we'll see what Friday brings. James said, why is no one angry at AEW and Tony Khan not granting releases like with WWE? Well, I'm personally not angry at it because I think contracts should be honored. I've said this before. I think that if you get upset that WWE fired a load of people and released a load of people that were under contract, WWE got blamed for releasing a load of people that had contracts. I mean, they let people go in 2020, they let people go in 2021, and all these people had contracts. They signed contracts, they signed for X amount of years at X amount of money, but budget cuts meant that WWE didn't honor the contracts, and WWE were rightfully battered for that, because they should have sat down and they should have, sorted out their finances and only, given contracts out to people that they knew they could honor. Now, of course, WWE, if they were here to give you their side of it, they would turn around and say, yes, but there was a global pandemic. We couldn't do the touring and we couldn't do this and we couldn't do that. Irrelevant, because they were posting massive profits and massive earnings and, massive revenue. And, they tied a load of people up to contracts that were massive so that AEW couldn't get that talent. There's two sides to that story. Understand where they're coming from in saying there was a global pandemic. But even so, if you give someone a contract, I believe those contracts should be honored. But that is a two-way street. That works both ways. If you've got that energy towards the company, then I feel that same energy has to go towards the talent. If you're a talent and you sign a contract, you should be honoring that contract. So that, for me, contracts are, very, very important. Very important. They are written agreements. They stand up in the law of court. And, I'm all right with Tony not letting people out of contracts, because I think that for the longest time, companies weren't honoring those contracts, and, it was screwing people over. Now that we've got to the point where we've got them, they should be treated as, the be all and end all. So I must admit, I'm all right with companies taking that approach. I might be in the minority. I don't know. I equally don't care. That's honestly how I feel about contracts. I think that if we want the companies to honor them, then the talent should honor them as well. I do understand that Malachi has got mental health struggles. That's been reported. And so the company should do everything it can to support him, and should do everything it can to, make sure that he's getting the treatment that he deserves. And if it means he needs to go away for a month, 2 months, like how they're doing with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's going off to rehab and, getting whatever treatment he needs to get whatever support he needs to get. Well, if that needs to be the same for Malachi, then so be it. But I don't think that should result in his contract being terminated. I will agree that when it comes to mental health, it's tricky, because obviously everyone's different with mental health. There's no one size fits all. So, in those circumstances, it might be that the contract does get terminated because that person's mental health has deteriorated to a point where it's just not right for them to be under a contract. I don't know that Aleister Black's at that level. I'm not a trained professional with mental health. So if I was Tony Khan, I would be working with HR. I would be working with mental health professionals to try and see what the best way forward was for him, for Malachi Black. Because to be honest, like him being let out of his contract might not even be the best way forward for him. And if he's only saying that to get out of his contract so he can go to WWE, shame on him. Shame on him, because that is moody, man. To turn around and say that you've got these mental health problems, but you haven't really, and you're only saying it so you can get out your contract because you want to go to WWE. That's pretty shady. That's pretty moody. So I think it's quite complicated. I think it's quite complicated, but I've always felt that way. Like the contracts, if you're going to sign it, if you sign it, you've got to know that for those few years you could be treated anyway. You could not you should never be disrespected. But what I mean by that is that you might not get on TV every week. They can promise you the world and tell you that they're going to make you a champion. You're going to be on TV all the time and all this kind of stuff. But truth of the matter is, it might not go that way. And if you don't have certain guarantees in your contract to say that you're going to be on TV, say 20 times a year at least, you're going to be used at all the pay-per-views. If you don't have those stipulations in writing, then you've got no rights to have those things. Like, this is why when people are negotiating their contracts, it should be a major thing. It should be a major thing. The money is important, but so are other things, like how many appearances you've got to make, and do you get onto the pay-per-view shows? And I don't know. I mean, if there's any kind of promises of a title run, get it in the contract. If they want you that badly, then they will be willing to put these things in a contract. I would imagine Cody managed to get a few things in his. I would imagine WWE were really eager to get Cody, because that was a black eye to AEW at the time, taking one of their... He was an EVP, wasn't he? So I would imagine Cody managed to sort a few things out. So, yeah. But as I said, I mean, it was a good point. Like, that energy, that anger, I haven't really seen. But I'm just explaining why that anger never came from me, because I believe... I got very angry at WWE when they were letting people go in 2020, 2021. I distinctly remember doing a wrestling escape pod live with Dave in real life as this news was coming out that people were being released. And I remember, I don't know, as names were trickling through, I was just getting more and more angry. I was like, I think that's probably the angriest I've been on stream. It's the angriest I've ever felt on a stream. Was when we were streaming, and I think it was names like Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Mia Yim. Like, these names were just coming through, and they were big names as well. And they were talent. They were talent that you knew had talent. And then WWE were just throwing them to the wayside. It was awful. It was awful. So glad we're past those days. I mean, like, we went through a real period, didn't we? Where, like, every month or so, we were getting, like, a big chunk of releases. It's awful. Mitchell said, I've sent you a quick Twitter DM video of the Storm come in. Okay, let me have a look. Here we go. This is this loud? This is what Mitchell can see. You live in a nice neighborhood, mate. It's moody, innit? Moody. You can't quite see, but it's looks like it's hammering with rain just as you look at like the trees and everything. So yeah, stay safe and avoid the basement. So Mitchell, shout out to you. But right, let's go down. Days, they were talking about White Rabbit on the bump. This has got to be big, says Keaton. Yeah, I mean, it is big. I mean, it is big. It's big in the sense of everyone's talking about it, and I think the bump wants to jump onto that conversation and be a part of that conversation. I don't think the bump know anything, to be truthful. I think genuinely a lot of superstars don't know who this is. Kayla was saying that she loves these things because it, like, she can be a fan again, and so she can very much just like work out the theories, work out the clues, and like she's been with WWE 6 years, and it kind of takes her back to when she was just a fan, and she doesn't have that kind of insider knowledge. And I believe her. I don't think they get told who this is. Rhonda said she hoped it was Bray, and I don't think she was telling you it's Bray. I think she's hoping it's Bray. I think she, as a fan, is hoping this is where it's going to lead, or this is what she thinks it's going to be. Because they have to keep these things quiet. Because if too many people know where it's leading, then you increase the chance of it leaking. You know, you've got to know that Meltzer's asked around. You've got to know Sean Ross Sapp's asked around. WrestleVote's asked around. Like, anyone that's got sources in WWE is asking around right now, who do you think this is? Like, have you heard who this is? So it's really on a need-to-know basis. Like, there's going to be a handful of people, if that are going to know, which is why when BT Sport send a tweet out, like, yeah, of course, pay it attention, but I wouldn't read too much into it, because I think I can pretty much guarantee BT Sport do not know who the White Rabbit is. And I think I can pretty much guarantee that anyone that runs the social media account for WWE, anyone that runs the YouTube channel, I can pretty much guarantee none of them are going to actually know who it is. Now, if I was running the YouTube channel, I would put a video out, right, at some point that was a top 10, like, you know, greatest, like, debuts or something, right? And I would make sure Bray Wyatt was in there, because any time that something like this happens and then you include Bray Wyatt in a video, that gets people talking. Like, I always get flooded with people saying, did you see WWE just put a video up that had Bray Wyatt in it? Because people make that connection. Like, oh my God, they've just used a Bray Wyatt clip on YouTube. Does that mean he's coming back? Whereas my feeling is, what it actually is the person running the account is fully aware as to where the conversation is at. And they are basically using that to, you know, get people talking, get people watching. The world runs on clicks and views and likes. That's how the world operates now. Doesn't matter if it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Like, when it comes to like this online presence, it's clicks, it's views, it's followers, it's likes, it's subscribers. Like, even WWE is doing what they can to get as much of that as possible. So it's always worth just bearing that in mind, because I do think there's a few bits and bobs like that happen where things are being put out there just for clicks and views and likes and whatever. So yeah, it being mentioned on the bump, I'm honestly not surprised. I think they know that if they mention it, it's going to have people talking. I mean, look, we're spending a few minutes talking about the bump now, and we rarely talk about the bump. So I think it's probably an example of that. I think they also, they're right to talk about it because it is the biggest conversation at the moment, and it is where the wrestling fans are focused. So they're absolutely right to have that conversation. And it is big. I mean, this whole thing is big. That's why we keep saying, enjoy the journey. We don't know 100%, right? No one knows 100%. You can have people tell you they're 100% it's Bray, but they can't be 100% because they don't know who it is. No one knows exactly who it is other than, say, Triple H and maybe a couple more people. But, of course, it looks very likely to be Bray. But we'll have to wait and see. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy working out the clues. Enjoy the conversation. It's really important that you have fun with it and that it's fun. That's what it's meant to be. So just keep enjoying it. Keep, decoding it and, chewing over a few things and finding theories and whatever. And, yeah, just enjoy it. So it's good. I mean, it's one of the biggest conversations that I've seen play out on social media this year, and actually for a few years. There was big conversations around Sasha and Naomi and were they right to leave and whatever. But in all fairness, once people have kind of had their say on that, that's it really. Conversation was quite intense for a short period of time. Now, obviously, because it's got 3 different clues and the clues still to come. That has been over a much longer period of time. So this has been one of the biggest, longest conversations because it's designed that way. It's not just one clue. It's going to be potentially 6, something along those lines, over 3-4 weeks. So it's a prolonged conversation. So yeah, it's brilliant. I think they've done a fantastic job with it. Edward said, Days, not wrestling or AEW related, but thoughts on BBC saying Liverpool and Dortmund are close to agreeing a deal for Cater for Bellingham in a straight swap. Dortmund are happy with it. I can't say I see that. I don't see Cater being 100 and some million player. You can tell me if I'm wrong. But I can't see that. I mean, if I was Dortmund, Naby Keita... Are we saying Naby Keita? I mean, Naby Keita's a great player, but I don't see him being equal to a Bellingham. So I would be very surprised if that actually happens. I'd be very, very surprised. Because I feel like Keita and some money, definitely, for Jude Bellingham. But, hey, we'll have to see. Did you see that Big E and Tyler Breeze will be on the bump next week, says James. No, I didn't, actually. No, to be perfectly honest, just going back to that conversation we just had, the bump has been doing the rounds, and I've been sent it a few times. And again, big thank you to everyone sending stuff over. But what I've seen is the video clip of just that White Rabbit segment. So the bump has had some great exposure today because of White Rabbit, but I didn't see any of the rest of it. It's not a show I tend to watch, so no, I didn't. But that's interesting. I mean, it's great that Big E will be on. Might get a bit of an update as to where he is with his recovery. And Tyler Breeze, how interesting. I wonder if that's got something to do with up, up, down, down. I don't know, because he tends to be... was quite active on there. Again, not a channel I watch, but I believe, didn't he do left, right or something? And I think he was quite a big name on that. So, I don't know. It makes me think of that, basically. I don't think he's coming back. I'd love for him to come back. He'd be a great tag partner for Austin Theory. I could see them two together. I always liked Tyler Breeze. I always thought that he would go on to be a decent mid-carder who had a shot at getting a world title match. I kind of saw him at that level. I thought he could come in, be Intercontinental Champion. And if we booked him right and gave him a good win streak, we might be able to get him up to the top of the cards. Not permanently, but just move him up and give him a little bit, I suppose, Finn Balor I think I had more hopes for Finn Balor with the Demon character, the Demon King, that he would actually be quite consistently around the main event. I think I had Tyler Breeze a good level below, I suppose. But, God, it just never worked, did it? It never went that way. It never went that way at all. Kind of crazy that he was like the Austin Theory of his day in a way. And it just never went that way. It just didn't work out. So that's cool. I would love for him to come into WWE, but I will also be the first to say that he would not be a game changer. He would just be a good pair of hands to have around. He'd just be good for some feuds and holding up the mid-card and being a good opponent to people. But listen, you can't always just bring in main event stars. Like, you need different stars at different levels. You need people to put others over. And Tyler Breeze could always do that, but he could do it in credible matches. He could do it in matches that, have got something about them. Don't forget, he was quite a big star in NXT to the point where they brought Jushin Thunder Liger in just to face him at NXT Brooklyn. It was Jushin Thunder Liger against Tyler Breeze in NXT. I mean, he was seen as someone with real potential, but yeah, ran into the brick wall that was Vince McMahon and didn't work for him. Brenton, shout out to you, bud, says, hope you are well. Who do you think will be the Acclaim's next challengers? New opponents, or does Tony go in another direction and do rematches with Swerve and Lee? I don't know that we do rematches because they don't tend to do rematches. So I think there's probably a chance that we will move on from Swerve and Lee. They could go back and do a rematch, of course. But we've already had two. We did the one match at, was it All In? And then we did the other match at Grand Slam. So I don't know that we get a third. I mean, look, there's plenty of heel teams for them to go up against. The Acclaimed are massive faces. Gun Club comes to mind because obviously there's quite a history there. So Gun Club at some point could get an opportunity. Young Bucks, I've got to think, are going to be sniffing around the championships as well. The guys from the Jericho Appreciation Society, Daddy Magic and whatever, I could see maybe those guys going for it. So, you've got potentially some at there. Obviously, House of Black might have been an option. You could have done like Buddy and Brody King, or Malachi and Brody King. You could have done something with those guys, but seemingly probably not going to get that with everything that's happening. Quite a bit of drama with the House of Black. But yeah, a few names there. Gun Club, Young Bucks. I think Lucha Bros are faces at the moment, so I don't think it would be them. But the 2.0 guys in Jericho Appreciation Society, I think they're probably in the mix also. So, they won't struggle for opponents. There's a few names that you could have lined up. And I must admit, I'm all right with it not being like the biggest names. I'm all right with it not being Bucks and Lucha Bros and FTR. I'm all right with us exploring and trying, some new teams. Because in all fairness, look at how successful Swerve, Keith Lee against the Acclaimed were. I would argue they're not the biggest of, tag teams. Like Swerve and Keith Lee, good singles guys that got put together, and actually the team worked quite well. And then, you've got the Acclaimed, who have just slowly over time got more and more over. There was some good teams doing the rounds not long ago, like Top Flight. You remember Top Flight? They were obviously a team that we felt were going to, get to be champions. Jurassic Express, obviously, they've split up now. You could do Christian and Luchasaurus. That could be an option. So you could maybe get a tag team there. We'll have to see how it shakes out. I don't know who the next challengers will be. We'll have to wait and see. Are FTR banned from Dynamite, said Reese. I don't believe they're banned. They, I think they are. They're carrying 2 belts already, aren't they? They're carrying am I right in saying the AAA and the New Japan? New Japan, definitely. And I think the others are the AAA, or I can't remember if it's AAA or the Ring of Honor ones. But they've got plenty of gold as it is. Obviously, the gold they should be carrying is the AEW tag belts. Those are the belts that I would like to see them get, and they will get them. They will get them. We will see them get those championships again. I'm absolutely certain. I think Tony knows how big and important they are, and really, you could argue he absolutely should be using them more. But I think he's kind of, trying to get over a few other teams, and I can't argue with pulling the trigger on Acclaimed. I mean, I can't sit here and say that he's wrong for putting the belts on Acclaimed right now. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do. So let them have their run. Then maybe a heel team get them next. And then maybe it is time for FTR after that. So we'll just have to find some other things for them to do. We'll just have to find some other feuds. But I can blame him for that. I can definitely blame him for not finding something for FTR to be doing. If they're not going to be going after the belts, they should be involved in something else. I mean, do you remember when they were in Inner Circle? At least they were getting on TV. Now they're just kind of off on their own. We're just not seeing them. But I don't know what's in their contract. Their contract might be only limited dates. I don't know if that's true or not. But rumors were that WWE were interested in FTR, and FTR said, "Well, if we do come in, we want Roman's schedule." Is what's rumored. So they are seemingly not looking to do a big schedule. I think they've got families, and I think they are, wanting to have a good work-life balance. So some of it might come down to FTR themselves. Some of it might come down to those guys not wanting to work every single week and not do every single Dynamite and not do every show possible, because they want to spend time with their families. I don't know that to be true. I just thought it was interesting that the rumors are FTR were approached by WWE, and the response was, we are interested, but we want Roman's schedule. We want that reduced appearance schedule, which I thought was kind of an interesting answer. Of all the things to request, of all the things to say that you want, not we want to be champion, or we want a main event like certain shows or whatever. We want, guarantees that we're going to be used every week. The request was we want Roman's schedule. Just interesting. Edward said, Days, I'm going to be in the stream tonight, but I won't get a chance to talk much as I need to sleep. I've got a work appointment. No worries, Edward. Hasib said, have you seen the news about Saraya? That's correct, isn't it? I think I'm saying it correct. So, am I saying it correct? I might be saying it wrong. Oh, God. It's a nightmare. How do you say it? Saraya? Yes, it is Saraya. Right, we're going to get there. I'm going to get there. Saraya. AEW contract is a 3-year deal, and the money is huge. So huge, she will wrestle or be the pinnacle of the division, according to Meltzer. Well, I mean, look. Her wrestling is something I do expect. Obviously, I don't know how often she's going to wrestle. I do expect her to wrestle. I think just looking at how they've used Sting, who is getting on in his age, he has also had major injuries, but they've still got matches out of Sting. That makes me think that they are going to look to do something similar with Saraya. I think they're going to bring her in. I think that she will not wrestle that often, but I think she will wrestle, certainly on the bigger shows. And, could they end up putting a belt on her? I think they absolutely could. I think a lot of it is going to depend, obviously, on how she feels. It's going to depend on how much she can do. And I think they will have had those conversations. They must know what they think they can do, can and can't do with her before bringing her in. So it's a good point to see if they've put her on a massive, massive contract. That would say to me that they are looking to get a lot out of her, more than just a manager, like more than just having her on screen. I think that the ratings this week should be all right, because this is going to be the first time we're going to hear her talk and hear what she's got to say. And it's going to be a real interesting segment. So that's actually the segment I'm probably most looking forward to, is hearing from her and seeing what she's got to say. So, yeah, good, exciting. Do you see Chris Jericho losing the Ring of Honor title tonight, said Victor. I am going to say no. It's only just gone on him, and I understand that you could put it on him just so that he then drops it to Bandido, but I think Claudio could have dropped it to Bandido. You could have done that match, Claudio against Bandido. That would have been fine, and you could have passed the title that way. Like, you didn't necessarily need Jericho to be the go-between. So I have to think they've put it on Jericho to really raise the profile of Ring of Honor. And so I'm going to say he's going to keep it. But I don't know. People might have a better read on that than I do. Ring of Honor is not a promotion that I've ever watched. So, like, I could definitely be open to someone telling me, no, it makes sense for Bandido to win because of this and this. So, yeah, for me, no, I think he retains, but someone with more Ring of Honor knowledge might have a better argument as to why Bandido makes more sense. Elizabeth, hello, said, do you think AEW will let superstars be in movies? Yes. Superstars being in movies, it does write them off TV for a while, but the rewards are rewarding. Someone's profile really gets raised if they go into films. And so I think if you can get them on, if you can get them onto late night TV shows, if you can get them onto talk shows, if you can get them onto Good Morning America, if you can get them into films, into TV programs and just anything, if you can just get them out there, that is something that will raise their profile and in turn raise your profile as well. You only have to look at Sasha in The Mandalorian and just how successful that has been. I mean, she's got figures out of her in the Star Wars. They've used her multiple times. She feels like, she was a big star anyway, but she has now become an even bigger star. And actually, I do wonder if, like, this kind of her walking out and all of that, I do wonder if that has really been driven by the Mandalorian stuff. Like, all of a sudden now she's had a taste of a world and a life outside of WWE. And I think that there's every chance that she's kind of had her head turned. And that I think, all of a sudden she's looking at acting and thinking, well, that is actually a viable career for me. And I don't need WWE. And who knows, if she hadn't have been in The Mandalorian, maybe there's a chance that the walkout never would have happened. And maybe there's a chance that she would have, just stayed with WWE and done what was requested. And, just would have played out. But I think, like, there's a chance that she's had a taste of a different world. She liked it. And, I think it was James Chadwick sent me a tweet saying that Sasha has actually changed her username from at WWE Sasha Banks to at Mercedes, whatever her real name is. So that's obviously an interesting move because it suggests that she is done with WWE. Because why would you change it now? Why would you change and take that out of your username? Why would you make that change now? I mean, if anything, it seems like she's on the verge of going back to WWE. So the last thing you would do is take it out of your username. The last thing you would do is change that at this stage. So I do agree that's one of the biggest bits of news I've seen today. So that's maybe an example of it going right and wrong, because I think her profile was raised, but it also turned her head towards maybe doing that permanently. So that's an example of it going right and wrong. But I think the pros definitely outweigh any negatives. It's very rewarding to do that and raises the profile of the wrestling company as well as the talent. Look at the best example is probably Hulk Hogan, Rocky 3. Hulk Hogan in Rocky 3 changed wrestling. I mean, undeniable. Hulk Hogan being in Rocky 3 changed wrestling. Like, that's mental, isn't it? Because Hogan was in WWE and they used him, but he ended up going. And basically he wanted to do Rocky 3. And they were like, nah, we can't give you the time to do that. We don't want you doing that. And he was like, well, I'm going then, because that is a big opportunity for me. And so he left WWE and went to the AWA. And when Rocky came out, he became a monster star, massive star. I mean, you've got to think how big the Rocky films were. And so Hulkamania started in the AWA, like his popularity, and Hulkamania was born because of Rocky 3. And once that all kicked off, WWE looked at it and went, oh, well, we've made a mistake, but we need to get him back. So they managed to give him a load of money, managed to get him back. If they never had got him back, who knows how things would have gone. But they managed to bring him back, and then boom. I mean, put the belt on him very quick, and WrestleMania 1 follows after. And it's all built on Hulk Hogan. I mean, I don't even know if Vince would have gambled on a WrestleMania if Hulkamania hadn't have been around. If Hulkamania wasn't as red hot as it was, would Vince have gambled on WrestleMania? Because I think Vince knew people would tune in because of Hulk Hogan. And so there was kind of a bit of a, not a safety net, but I think there was kind of a bit of a safety there that, well, I think people will tune in to see the Hulkster. Hulkamania was running wild in 85. So, but that was all out of Rocky 3. So, yeah. Days also, Fandango said he's going to return to a company on TV. Maybe a Fashion Police reunion, said James. Maybe. I'm down for that. Brenton said, what do you think of 2 members of the firm going for the belts? Maybe to establish a group a little other than being MJF's hired muscle. I don't mind it. It feels a bit early. I wouldn't take it off the Acclaimed yet. I think the Acclaimed have got it. They should keep them. I think we should, not just take it off and put them on the firm. I think the firm need to establish themselves. I completely agree with that, but there's lots of ways they can do it. They can go into a feud with a different faction, and you can do like Blood and Guts, or you can do a Stadium Stampede, or you can do some kind of multi-man, even if it's just like an 8-man tag or something. You can do a multi-man match and build up a feud and a bit of a faction war type thing, and you can establish them that way. You don't necessarily have to put like titles on them. But I don't mind them having a shot and having a go. The only problem is I wouldn't have them winning yet, because I think the Acclaimed are over, and just because they've now got the belts shouldn't mean that we now back away from the Acclaimed. If anything, you double down and get out of this run as much as you can. So if you want to put the belts on the firm, I would hold off and see if we can maybe give the Acclaimed a feud or 2 first. How long we got? We got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Life of Das says, buddy, hope all is good. Hope all is good. Setting down to AEW tonight on the Amazon Fire Sticks, the best thing that I bought. What, the Amazon Fire Sticks, the best thing that you bought? Very good. Life of Dan, shout out to you. Jensen, I can see your comment saying that I missed your super chat. I haven't seen it. I will see if I can find it. I'll see if I can go back through and find it. But yeah, Life of Dan, shout out to you. I don't know how you watch AEW on a Fire Stick. It's probably an American thing, unless it's like a hacked, dodgy Fire Stick, which I wouldn't put past you. I wouldn't put past you. Life of Daz. I don't know why, but my YouTube, whenever I go onto it, it automatically is at like 240p, and I've got no idea why. I can't read anything at 240p. Jensen the Best said, Days, my daughter Willow was born on Saturday. Many congratulations, dude. Many congratulations. That's very, very cool. So, Jensen the Best is a father. Well done. Look at that, our community getting bigger. Because she's a Wrestling Days fan. I don't know if she told you, but shout out to you. Willow named after Jeff Hardy's alter ego. In my mind, you've got a baby that's got like the Willow mask on. She's like doing swantons off the top of the crib. So shout out to Jensen. Shout out to Willow. Michael said, how would you compare Hulk Hogan of today to Hulk Hogan 30 years ago? How would I compare Hulk Hogan today to Hulk Hogan of 30 years ago? A massive drop-off, to be honest, because of the scandal, 2015 scandal. I mean, Hogan now, it's heartbreaking. Do you know, it's funny, actually, because I was looking earlier at what video I could do today, because there wasn't really much in the way of, like, White Rabbit news. And I was like, is there anything that we could do that I think people would find interesting? And randomly, I mean, so random, I stumbled across Bray having a conversation with Hulk Hogan. And it's a conversation I forgot had happened, but it actually happened in the build towards, I can't remember what match it was. I think it was towards, you know, when he loses the title to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia, because they're talking about Goldberg. And I think it was in the build towards that they do a Firefly Funhouse match where you've got Hogan in Tampa and then you've got Bray in the Funhouse and they do a split screen. And I remember it now, but I'd completely forgotten it happened. And I was like, man, I could do a video that's like when Bray met Hulk and do a video just kind of based on that interaction, because it was a fun interaction and one I'd forgotten about. I didn't do it in the end, but I did watch it again, and it was all right. It's nothing amazing, but it was all right. But he was getting no reaction, Hogan, no reaction. And I remember him being at WrestleMania 37, and again, you know, they put him out there next to Titus O'Neil, didn't they? Because I think they thought if Hogan walks out, he's just going to be booed out the building. So they made sure that Hogan was the host. But whenever he walked out, Titus was right next to him, because Titus is from Tampa. He's their, like, ambassador, if you will, community outreach. And so they had them in segments together. And I have to think they did that because, you know, they wanted the reaction to be a positive reaction. I mean, look, if you're bringing Stone Cold Steve Austin back, you don't put Titus out with Stone Cold. If you're bringing The Rock back, you don't put Titus out there with The Rock. Like, The Rock goes out and he commands the audience on his own. Stone Cold commands the audience on his own. But you look at WrestleMania 37 and they put Titus out there with Hogan. And it's all damage control. That's what it is. It's so that Hogan isn't getting booed out the building. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because I was never the biggest Hogan fan. But I always had respect for him. I always had respect for him because he was Hogan. WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 5, WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 7, WrestleMania 8, WrestleMania 9. He main events, or not, doesn't appear, main events all of those shows. He closes all of those shows, and he's at WrestleMania 4 in the rematch against Andre the Giant. And then obviously he leaves, goes to WCW, and then, you know, joins and creates one of the biggest factions, maybe the biggest faction wrestling has ever seen with the NWO. His heel turn is, I think, undoubtedly the biggest heel turn in the history of wrestling. His career and his impact on wrestling is just staggering. It's incredible. He is, no one can deny, one of the biggest stars wrestling has ever seen, one of the biggest stars WWE has ever seen. And I don't see, if you want to talk about importance, I don't see how he doesn't make it on the Mount Rushmore of WWE. I cannot see how you can't put him on that. He's got to be. And he might even be the first one you chisel. Stone Cold's in the mix as well, of course. It's Stone Cold and Hogan for me. It's Stone Cold and Hogan at the very top of the WWE tree of when it comes to importance. So the fact that you now have to put someone out there so that he doesn't get booed is just, it's heartbreaking, isn't it? Well, I think it is anyway. But look, it's also deserved. I mean, his comments were appalling, and I know he apologized for them, but it's, you know, not sat well with everyone, has it? And you can understand it. It doesn't change the fact it's a shame that we're here, but I understand. So his legacy is tarnished. Simple as that. And then I think there's other stuff as well, isn't there? You know, there was lots of stuff going on with his family, you know, and considering he was, you know, say your prayers, take your vitamins, do the right thing, all that kind of stuff, like sex tapes coming out and, you know, the divorces, the breakdown of his family. I think his son got arrested. Like, there was just, yeah, it's just, I don't know, all this drama and everything. And then I think we started to hear behind the scenes about how he was, you know, not the nicest of person behind the scenes. He was very controlling, wouldn't put certain people over, very protective of his position, seemingly demanded that Warrior came in just so he could beat him and get back the loss he had at WrestleMania 6. And, yeah, as we said, wouldn't drop the belt to certain people. And, you know, Stone Cold didn't want to work with Hogan because he felt that Hogan wouldn't lay down for him, and, you know, Hogan wouldn't put him over, and there was no way Stone Cold was putting Hogan over at that stage of their careers. So it's just, oh God, it's a shame. It's a real shame. Life of Daz said Firestick in the UK and Ireland. I don't know how it works. I mean, Firestick, I think, gives you Amazon Prime, doesn't it? I don't know how you get, like, Fight TV on there, or I know you can get, like, dodgy ones or whatever. But, hey, look, whatever you're doing, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Wrestle with Andy said, do you think Naomi returns without Sasha? I think she could. I can't see why they wouldn't bring her back if she was, you know, willing to come back. I think there's stuff you can do with Naomi. A lot of people wanted her in the bloodline, for example. So I think there's things you can do. Would she do that, though? I think she would, but I think she would want to know that Sasha was pursuing other things. I think she's walked out with Sasha. I think she's made her money, Naomi. She's made money. She's been in WWE long enough and I think she's a smart girl as well. I never get the impression that Naomi has, you know, been stupid with her money or been stupid in general. She seems to be a girl that's got her head screwed on. She seems to be a real nice person. I can totally believe that she has got savings and, you know, maybe invested it wisely. And I totally believe that she is fine for money. And don't forget, her husband's got a great job as well. Her husband's one half of the Usos. She ain't struggling. So I think that she has walked out. We're in solidarity with Sasha. They believed it was the right thing to do. I think if she wants to come back, they will welcome her back. I think if Sasha decides she wants to go into acting and Naomi wants to go back to wrestling, I think then she would, because I think Sasha's happy. Sasha has got the option to return, but she turned it down. Well, that doesn't have to be the case for Naomi. Naomi can still go back. I think they need to figure out what they're doing. It's Sasha, really. Sasha needs to figure out what she wants to do. Does she want to go into acting? Does she want to go back to wrestling? And this was what Triple H said in a sit-down interview. Triple H sat down with Ariel Helwani and was asked about Sasha, and his answer was, she's got a passion for wrestling. She's one of the best talents we've got, but she needs to make her mind up as to what she wants to do, because there's other passions that are evident. You know, he was basically saying that she's passionate about acting as well as, you know, passionate about wrestling. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Okay, we've got some table in the ring. Is this going to be for the Acclaimed? We've got 2 boxes. Feels AEW guy. Here's Jericho Appreciation Society. So it's not going to be the tag champs. It's Jericho Appreciation Society. So they are making their way down. 2 boxes on a table. Made me think it was going to be something for the Acclaimed, like some kind of tag team celebration. Jess are here. Wow, look at this. They're all coming out in purple purple suits. They like velvet suits. I like that. I like the fact they're all uniformed. Even Anna Jay, Ty Conti are in these suits. So making their way down to the ring. Does Saraya debut? All but confirm AEW UK show. Saraya, Regal, Pac, A Go-Go, Toni Storm, lots of European talent. The pizza guy's there. Primo Luigi is in the ring. Why is he there? Why is he in the ring? I don't understand. Is it because he is sports entertainment and he is very much a Jericho Appreciation Society kind of a guy? Okay. Crowd singing Judas, of course. Them boxes are pizza boxes. They're pizza boxes. There he is. There's Primo spinning his pizza around. Appreciate us. Appreciate us. So we're in Philadelphia. And he said it's the city of losers. Okay. Jericho standing in the center. He's got the Ring of Honor Championship around his waist. Primo Luigi still spinning his pizza in the background. The color for the evening is purple, said Courtney. It very much is, isn't it? Purple carpet, purple balloons, purple suits, purple rain. Okay, they're talking to Luigi. What pizza? So he made pizza from New York. No pizza for you. Jericho shaking his head. No pizza for anyone in the crowd. Right. None of you get pizza. Cool. All right. Wasn't expected any. We want pizza. Chant from the crowd. We want pizza, said AR1. I still don't know who these people are, said the list of Jericho. Okay, crowd chanting, we want pizza. You get. You get the greatest Ring of Honor champion of all time. Did you say the Ojo? The Ojo? You guys want pizza? You can't have any. How many people are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the ring. Okay, so Jericho said, everyone knows I'm the most honorable man. Jericho said, more people have seen me with this belt than if you put all the other Ring of Honor champions together. I'm going to change the way that Ring of Honor is remembered. So he's talking about his match tonight. He's going to be taking on Bandido. Luigi's still spinning that pizza in the background. I don't think that's how you should use Luigi, to be honest. Poor guy's just having to stand there, just constantly spinning this pizza. Like, I feel like he's really good in short bursts. Imagine if, like, these guys had come to the ring, Luigi wasn't in the ring, but then they bring him down and Luigi brought the pizzas down. Like, that could have been fun. That poor guy's just having to stand there, just chucking this pizza around. He's talking to Garcia. Garcia's got the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. He's got him a present. I bought this gift just for you. So there's a gift from Jericho. Garcia. He's going to open it up. It is a purple hat. Purple bucket hat. There we go. Okay. I had Pizza Hut for dinner, said Elizabeth. I'm going to see Luigi this week at Warrior Wrestling, said Wrestling with Arts. He looks like a purple Paddington, said Zoom Station. Purple Paddington. He's took it off. I don't know if he he throws it down. Oh, he nails Luigi. Luigi goes down. He said, "This isn't me, but I've had enough. This isn't how I envisaged myself when I wanted to get into the business. I want to tell you something that I wanted to get off my chest." Chris. He said, "I think it's time for me, but Jericho's not letting him finish." I want you to really think about what you're about to say. I want you to think about this. This is a crossroads for you. Make the wrong decision and I'll have to take you out. Okay, so Jericho asking Garcia, are you a sports entertainer? Or are you a pro wrestler? Big cheer for pro wrestler. Someone in the front row seems to have a winged eagle belt. Or in one of the front rows. I'm sure I just saw a winged eagle belt. You're a wrestler chant. It's that dude with the glasses. So you're a wrestler chant breaking out, and it's going to bring out the American Dragon. David Paul said, if people are asking where's Hager, Tony Khan sent an email allowing wrestlers affected by the upcoming hurricane in Florida to stay home from Dynamite. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. David, shout out to you. Jim, hello. Hope you're well. Said, maybe Sasha took WWE out of Twitter bio to keep people guessing. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Could be. Okay, Danielson is in the ring. So Danielson has picked up that purple hat. It seems to me like you're trying to tell Daniel Garcia what you think he should do. Danielson said he's got an infinite amount of respect for Garcia. Do whatever you want. If you want to come to the Blackpool Combat Club, so Jericho tells Danielson to shut his mouth. Sick of you trying to poach my guy. Garcia snatches the microphone off Jericho. Gets in the face of Jericho. Let's get one thing straight right now. I don't belong to you. And I haven't got to do nothing that you tell me. Let's not get too serious. We're meant to be entertaining. What if I picked up this pizza and threw it on the ground? Would that be entertaining? And he does it? Wow! EC dub! EC dub! EC dub! Luigi's still down, by the way. Luigi is still down and out. Such disrespect from Garcia. Austin said, why attack the pizza? Do you think it would be entertaining if I was in a tag team with Danielson? And the crowd say, yes, we do. We do think that would be entertaining. They say, yes, yes, we would enjoy that a lot. Thank you very much. It's a dude in a cowboy hat in the front row having a lovely time. Proper getting into it. So Garcia said, how about if I team with Danielson and I take on Jericho and Sammy Guevara? Daddy Magic having a say now. Ledger Killer, hello. Shout out to you. Jeremy said Garcia is having a huge moment. The disrespect for pizza is too far. Daddy Magic saying that he wants to punch Danielson in the face and knock him out. You want to punch me right now? There's a sign in the crowd that says Khan is better than Triple H. I think it's being held up by Tony Khan. Maybe it's being held up by Vince. I think that's Vince. I think Vince has got a Khan is better than Triple H sign. Daddy Magic. Versus Bryan Danielson. And why don't we do it right here, right now? I thought we were doing a tag match. Are we not doing the tag match now? Daddy Magic against Bryan Danielson. Street fight. Why is this promo going on so long, said Just Nick. It was long. It was long. It was long. Right. Well, I think we're done with that. We've gone over to the commentary table. Taz, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and William Regal. Tonight, Jon Moxley against Juice Robinson. We got that. AEW World Championship Eliminator match. MJF is going to appear tonight. Always significant when MJF is on the show. Toni Storm against Serena Deeb for the AEW Interim Women's Championship. Saraya is going to be speaking as well. Ricky Starks in action. So we got Ricky Starks. Didn't know about him being on the show. Chris Jericho against Bandido. That's happening tonight. I don't remember them normally doing this, like going down what we're getting in, like... Oh, here we go. Yep, we are going straight into Danielson against Daddy Magic. Regal on commentary. There was some random music that just played. So, some random music just hit. Oh, William Regal flirting with the man in the mask. He said, you Rice Krispie treat you. You can snap, crackle, and pop me anytime you want, sweetheart. I saw a video compilation, actually, of all of the kinky, filthy things that William Regal says to Excalibur. At some point, there needs to be a segment or something there. There needs to be some sort of payoff with all of that. It's a lovely little thing. It's a bit like Bayley and Michael Cole. Only Bayley hates Michael Cole, whereas William Regal loves Excalibur. Kicks coming in by Danielson. Regal is hilarious, says James. Cliff said, where are all the QR codes? This isn't a wrestling show. I know. Good point. No rabbits. I've seen 0 rabbits so far. What is this? Sham of a show. I can actually spend time concentrating on the actual wrestling. What's that about? Kick to the midsection by Daddy Magic. Bayley's got a crush on Michael Cole. I would love it if Michael Cole started going down that road, saying, like, you know, I think you've got, like, feelings for me and stuff like that. I would love to see Bayley's reaction. Could you imagine Bayley's reaction if Michael Cole all of a sudden went, all this attention you give me, I'm starting to think you've got feelings or something like this? I'd love to see Bayley's face and Bayley's reaction to that. They could and should do more with that. Not loads more. I'm not saying, like, it needs to be a massive part of the show, but I'd like to see them turn it up a little bit. I've seen enough crushed purple velvet for a lifetime, said Zoom Station. Ron said, sound guy doesn't get a home hug tonight. Yeah, it was just weird, wasn't it? A bit of sound, a bit of music just played before this match started. Into the railings goes Danielson, so we're on the outside at the moment. I don't get the whole segment. Give Garcia a moment, only to set up a random Danielson match, said Mitchell. I think that opening bit was a bit too long. For me, there's just no intrigue in this Daniel Garcia thing because it's quite clear that he's a wrestler and he's not a sports entertainer, and it's quite clear that he wants to leave the Jericho Appreciation Society. It's quite clear that he's unhappy and he doesn't fit there. So, like, I don't understand why we're stretching this thing out. It's not... He's going to leave and he's going to go to Blackpool Combat, unless the whole thing's a swerve and he's actually been playing us, which would be that'd be nice if it does go that way. But if it doesn't go that way, like, this just isn't something I've got much intrigue in. I'm just not that bothered by this story. Man United Hodge said, big up to you. Keen to hear from Saraya. Yes, that's the segment I'm most excited for. Yeah, definitely. See what she's got to say. See, you know, what her intentions are. She could announce that she's a manager and bring out the people she's managing. So could be big tonight. Could be big. I hope we get something of substance. You know, I hope it's more than just I'm excited to be here and these are the best fans in the world. I hope it gives us a real indication as to what her intentions are. I feel like we need that, or I need that. Primo said, Days, SmackDown opened with a near 20-minute segment to open the show with Bloodline and Sammy. It did a big rating. AEW opens up with a rare 20-minute promo segment. Is AEW trying some new ideas? I can't say that they're trying to copy the Bloodline thing, because I don't think Jericho Appreciation Society are as big for the ratings as what the Bloodline are. So I can't say they've looked at SmackDown and gone, we'll do that on Wednesday. And they're trying to get the same kind of reaction. We have seen Dynamite open up with like long promos before. It's not something that we see on a regular basis because they do like to get to the action straight away. It's not always a promo, but I don't know. I can't say that that's I can't say that's on purpose. I think it stands a chance of being a coincidence just as much. I just think that it didn't need to be that long. I think they're focusing on kind of like a storyline, which I don't know. I could be in the minority, but it doesn't hold any intrigue for me. I just wish Daniel Garcia would go to Blackpool Combat Club. He clearly fits better there, and he seemingly wants to go there. So stretching out this story of, is he going to go? Is he not going to go? I'm not bothered. Just go. Just go. Go to Blackpool Combat Club. I feel like there are definitely better stories we could be telling. I think the way we use Luigi Primo was not right either. I mean, the poor guy had to stand there throughout that segment spinning a pizza and then spend the second part of it being knocked out on the floor. I think the way they used him the other week was brilliant. I mean, it was all of like 10 seconds. You know, you see him, he's spinning his pizza, he gets kicked in the face, he gets knocked out. Great. That's all you need from him. And here, you know, it could have been a case that he came down, brought the pizzas down, you know, span the pizza and, you know, went off and that was it. I don't think he needed to be in the ring throughout the entirety of that segment. So, yeah, a couple of little things that I was like, not feeling about that open. But, I mean, you know, it's resulted in this match and this is all right. Danielson well in control here against Daddy Magic as he's colliding with him in the corner. This dude in the front row in the cowboy hat standing up and applauding any chance he can get. Really into the action. Which is good. It's good. Better than seeing a crowd on their hands, isn't it? Kicks coming in again by Danielson. Got the yes kicks. Daddy Magic getting saved, getting dragged out the ring. Danielson's going to go against the ropes, looking for... I thought he was going to go for a suicide dive, but it's a drop kick through the ropes. Danielson on the edge of the ring, charging over, looking to hit double knees to the outside, but gets hurled into the railings. It's picked up and driven into the ring post. Oh, it's a good job he's already got kids. Driven into the ring post. Mitchell said, I think AEW was trying to rival a WWE segment. We'd have had someone say, appreciate us. Roman saying, acknowledge us. Oh, I think that definitely is ripped from the Roman thing. I'm still not sold on the fact that they looked at the 20-minute open from Friday and decided to copy it. But 100% appreciate us is a rip of acknowledge me. Here's Claudio. Come on, Danielson, said Legend Killer. Brenton said, does Saraya debut all but confirm an AEW UK show? I don't think they're connected. I don't think they're connected because I think that I think they are. There's rumors of them looking to do a UK show, but they've been around those rumors since they first started. They know that a UK show and the UK is a market for them to get into. But I don't know that it's connected that they've got her and now, boom, here's a UK show. Danielson looking for a crossface. And there we go. Crossface applied, and it's a win for Danielson. Claudio came down, took I don't know his name, the other guy away. Is it Parker? Danielson with the win. Hi, Grandma. There's a sign in the crowd. Hi, Grandma. Grandma is watching AEW this evening. Jericho, Sports Entertainment Stable, makes fun of WWE's sports entertainment thing. Yes. Jon Moxley against Juice Robinson. Danielson wins. Brian wins. Yes, it's Parker. Thank you. Okay, Moxley against Juice Robinson, and we are just seeing back last week at Grand Slam. Seeing shots of the championship match from last week. Half an hour done. Undercover Manager said, officially, the last AEW I'll be watching, maybe other than pay-per-views, because the week-to-week stuff is boring. There's no storylines. It's just hot-shot title matches, and I'm tired of it. It's funny you should say that, because Lance says straight after as well that AEW is feeling a bit stale at the moment. Kyle said, WWE made much worse shots like that at WCW in the Attitude Era, yet now it's wrong for another company to make much smaller shots at them. Some perspectives are hilarious, says Kyle. Don't know, I have to disagree because WCW were giving results out on WWE. WWE shows were taped quite often, and WCW would get a hold of the results and actually leak them on screen. And, you know, if you think, like, they heavily teased that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were still affiliated with WWF when they came in. So I kind of feel like WCW were taking more shots at WWF than AEW have. And that resulted in WWF taking shots back. Equally, though, I think that they learned from that taking shots is not the right way forwards. I think they learn, and maybe the best example is WCW giving away Mankind's title win. So, you know, famously, they announced Mankind Mick Foley was going to win the title. And I think it was Tony Schiavone that said, that'll put butts in seats. And then about 250,000 people changed channels so they could watch it. So, you know, that massively backfired on WCW, giving away that result. You know, they basically gave WWF free advertising. They thought they were spoiling it. But what they actually did was give away free advertising, and 250,000 people wanted to see that moment and change the channel. So I think there's things like that happened that WWE looked at and thought, well, you know, we're better just concentrating on Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, and focusing on ourselves. So, you know, fast forward 20 odd years, here we are now. And I think WWE have still taken shots at AEW. AEW take shots at WWE. Neither side is innocent in this. I think AEW take more shots at WWE, though, in this day and age. And, you know, it's up to however you want to feel about it. I wouldn't compare it to what was happening between WWF and WCW, though, because it was a different time. It was a different war. And I think lessons were learnt from that. So that's why I wouldn't go back and, like, compare to that. But, I mean, look, if you're an AEW fan, then you're not going to be bothered, are you, at the shots to WWE? You're not going to care. If you're someone that's a bit on the fence, then maybe you'll be 50-50 on it. And if you're hardcore WWE, you're going to think it's really petty, really annoying that AEW do that. So it's down to you as to how you feel about it. I personally wish they wouldn't do it. I think it's better for them. I think it can come across as petty. I don't think it wins them new fans. I don't know that too many people think it's cool, and it just comes across as a bit petty to me. But I can't sit here and say WWF haven't taken shots at AEW. So, you know, both sides can have their fair share of blame, if you will. I'm a fan of both. I like them taking shots. It's fun, says Kyle. Zoom Station said the shows were on at the same time. It was a Monday Night War. WrestleBuzz said, unless I missed it, I'm surprised no fans have brought up signs to the show with QR codes, links to their social media or YouTube channels. I agree. Maybe not to AEW, but I am expecting someone to do that for WWE. In regards to WWE, like, it was funny because I was being sent the QR code that was shown on screen because I couldn't get it. I tried to get a screenshot of it and I didn't get it. And people very kindly then started sending me the QR code. And I don't know why. I must have pressed the wrong thing. But when I scanned the QR code, I kept getting a link to PayPal. And I was like, oh, man, people keep sending me this dodgy link. Turns out that I must have been doing something wrong because the link was correct. So I actually thought I was already being sent fake links. I agree. I'm stunned. I'm stunned that fake links haven't been shared. I might do it. I don't care. Because, yeah, I agree. I'm shocked that people haven't done it. Right, hang on. We've got Wheeler Yuta making his way down. Wheeler Yuta is fired up here by the looks of it. MJF, we have got a real serious problem. So it seems like Wheeler Yuta and MJF are in a feud, which is a weird feud for MJF. The thing is, though, he's got that chip, hasn't he? So I've been hit a lot harder by a lot better men. You had the audacity to put your hands on Tony Schiavone. I think actions should have consequences. He doesn't have the best tone to his voice, does he? He's hiding. Did you hear his voice go then? He's hiding. He likes to hide behind this microphone. Can't hang with me. His promo is just, I don't know. I don't know if it's nerves and he's just rushing through it, but it's just. Here's MJF. MJF's going to come and show him how to do it now. Cut my music. MJF comes out. Smirk on his face. Give it up for Wheeler Yuta, the hometown boy. Philly, the place you live when you can't afford to live in New York. MJF says, hi, Tony Schiavone. Calls him a low-down coward. Says some other things which I simply will not repeat. MJF said he's been wrestling Wheeler Yuta up and down North America when they were on the indie circuit. He's got respect for him. However, you went toe-to-toe on the microphone with Daddy last week, and Daddy had to put you on timeout, didn't he? Calls himself the biggest draw in AEW. Yuta is a great wrestler, but by God, keep him off the microphone. He's as bad as Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah, it wasn't great. Let's talk about the Phillies being dead in the water, laying into the local team. I think Days should have WWE AEW style t-shirt, says Elizabeth. And Broken said, be funny if when they say cut my music, the audio guy turns it up. That would be funny, yeah. MJF said he's a multi-millionaire at the age of 26. Wheelie Ute said, I don't care about your money. If you don't want to fight me in this ring, I will leave you in a pool of blood on Broad Street. Crowd cheer. MJF telling him to calm down. Bad things happen in Philadelphia. Tonight is no exception. Why did the crowd cheer that? You might not know this, but bad things happen in Philadelphia. Yay! Bad things, bad things, bad things. MJF has got the gun club. I don't do brawls, but if you want to professionally wrestle, do people want to see us go? He says no. I'll see you in the ring next week, said MJF. You don't deserve to hear me say my catchphrase. Austin going is looking good, said Lone Star Friend. MJF walks away. He's going off to his skybox. I think he just called them the Blackpool Cuckold Club. MJF is better than you, and you know it. There we go. Wheelie Yuta wanted to throw down with MJF. MJF wasn't interested. He's walked off. The firm need t-shirt, said Junior. It's better than Yuta's catchphrase, and he knows it, says Cursed One. Philly is wacky right now. All that cheesesteak is making them angry. Yeah, bad things happen in Philly. Yeah! It's a good thing the Acclaimed are not paper champions. Otherwise, the Scissor Me Daddy thing would end up a disaster, says Rotem. Very good. Steve said, I see Saraya is already posting thirsty pics on IG. Who's the first wrestler we see on her OnlyFans? Has she got an OnlyFans? Probably. Most have, haven't they? I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that. That's not... amazingly, it's not a world that I interact with. Saraya shot... Was Sayonara a shot at Wheeler's ethnicity, says Heather. I didn't pick up on that. Can't say. Mitchell said, if you want to beat Yuta in a promo, just challenge him to talk in a library. 90% of Yuta's promos are screaming and running around. Good point. Yeah, that was not good, was it? That was not good. And the pacing of it was like really quick. It just, I don't know if it's nerves or quite what it is, but it just feels like he has to get out. Like, it's screaming, it's shouting, it's fast paced. It's, yeah, the lines aren't really that witty or not good. Not good from Wheeler Yuta. I don't know I don't know why no one sat him down and like gone through the promo with him. Wheeler Yuta seems to me like someone that should, if he's not having it scripted for him, he needs like bullet points. Hit this, hit this, hit this. And given some lines, basically, go out and, use this. Or even if he could sit down with MJF and MJF tell him what he's going to say so that he can come up with like a good counter backstage. Like, I don't know, if they've just given him a microphone and told him to go out and do his thing isn't that great. So, a little bit of work needs to be done there, clearly. Hard, though. I mean, anyone that's going to be on the microphone going up against MJF is probably going to come off second best. But I think Wheeler Yuta came off second best before MJF had even come out. So, yeah, definitely a weakness for Wheeler Yuta. But he is obviously a very, very good wrestler, so. You should go to improv class, says Jim. Paige's OnlyFans is hot, said Carlos. The crowd should have chanted EC dub, EC dub. Serge said Moxley's style is rubbing off on Yuta. Kojiko said before her rise to fame, Madonna worked at Dunkin' Donuts. She was later fired for squirting jelly on a customer. Oh, kinky. Noah said MJF being in a rivalry with Wheeler Yuta is a huge letdown. He should be feuding with main eventers. Brenton said, I left the stream for a bit, and just like that, almost 40 minutes has gone. It has. I will agree that the show is moving quite well. That opening promo felt like it overstayed its welcome, but the match was all right. And then, obviously, there's a few talking points coming out of that last segment. But yeah, you turn around, and as you said, nearly 45 minutes, 15 minutes time, we're at the halfway point. Days, when WWE does those mass releases, there were talks of all of it being done to set them up for a sale. Yeah. Nick Khan came out and said that wasn't true. But I think the reason why those rumors were there was because it seemed like they were cleaning house, getting the books in order, getting rid of some of the, dare I say, dead wood, and making it a much more attractive prospect. So that's kind of where I think those rumors came from. I don't think they actually came from anything of any real substance. Juice Robinson then against Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley. Gotta love American adverts selling testosterone boosting pills, whilst testosterone killing herbicides gets put in drinking water. They have been proven to turn male frogs female, says Kyle. Just Nick said, I don't understand this match. Like, it could be good, but why aren't AEW using their actual wrestlers? Fair point. They couldn't book Switchblade, so they brought in Juice, said Zoom Station. Heather says, my boy Juice, heart, heart, heart. Joe. Here he is, Jonathan Moxley. Jon Moxley making his way to the ring. Brenton said, if AEW want to do 1 million again, they need to have Saraya at the top of the hour. This show could be the 6th show in the row to get 1 million. Dana said, do you know what contract is up next year to AEW superstars? Do I know what I don't know. I don't have contract information. What stars are up next year? I certainly think people will be thinking now about re-signing now that WWE looks a more attractive prospect. So Moxley in the stands. Travis said, this match proves without Punk there are AEW no stars in AEW. Heather said, Jay is IWGP champion. I doubt they could bring White over. Pete said, Juice is a free agent, you marks. Yeah, you marks. Kicks coming in from Juice. Noah said, is it me or is MJF being a heel seem forced? After the media scrum, he should be a face. Don't know. I think he is just, I don't know. I think he's a natural heel, to be honest. I don't know that it feels forced because he's so good at being a heel and his promos are so good. Perhaps following that promo that he did where he didn't turn face, but, you know, him saying, like, you know, that he was going to leave if he wasn't getting a better contract and all of that. He seemed to have, like, the support of the crowd, believe it or not. I don't know if that went in a direction they weren't expecting. Perhaps Tony thought that, you know, saying you're going to leave and go to WWE unless you get paid would make him, like, a bigger heel. But the crowd seemed to respond quite positively to it. I think it's because it was very pipe bombing and people weren't sure if it was real or not. And it made it cool. So I think, like, him coming back and saying, oh, I've been given a load of money, you know, and I'm staying now, kind of a thing. I think, as he said, I'm staying till, like, 2024, but let's be clear, this is not, I haven't signed a contract extension. I'm just now being paid what I'm worth type thing. So you could maybe argue that he could have come back as a face. He was certainly getting cheers before he left, but I think they've made it clear that he's, you know, come back as he was as a heel. And his promos are so good and he lays into people and he's witty and he's great with his put downs. I don't know. I don't know that it feels forced. I think he's a natural heel. I think he's a slimy, smarmy, mid-20-year-old. Juice, forearm strike. We just saw a spot on the outside has got thrown into Timekeeper's area. I don't think the table broke. I think it tipped over, but I don't think it broke. Shots coming in there by Moxley. These two exchanging forearms. Taz said not too many people go toe-to-toe with Moxley, but that's what Juice Robinson is doing. He's throwing out some jabs. Kick to the midsection by Moxley. Forearm strike as Juice goes down to one knee. Forearm uppercut there by Moxley as he goes against the ropes. He grabs the ears there, Juice, and he seems to be biting Moxley. Moxley goes back into the corner. That was a weird spot, man. Moxley went off the ropes, and as he came in, like, Juice just grabbed his ears. Like, you would imagine Moxley going against the ropes would have so much momentum that Juice wouldn't be able to just grab his ear. He just stopped Moxley in his tracks. It looked a little bit clunky, to be honest. Big lariat there by Moxley. Gets driven back to the ropes. They spill to the outside. So they're both on the outside. I saw the same Moxley match a dozen times now, said Lance. Noah said, I think he's a natural babyface. He could have been what CM Punk was in 2011, a cool over heel who became a face because the fans were behind him. There we go. We got Juice in the ring. Moxley on the outside. Moxley isn't bleeding. Wow. Right, get the diary. Put it in the diary. It's a red letter day. Moxley is having a match and there is so far, James, no bloods. So far. Primo said, I get Tony Khan doesn't want to release talent, but there's so many guys not being used. Even on Rampage, it just feels like an extension of Dark. Brenton said, with the match going on now, what's the main event? Kind of odd to have a world champion wrestling hour one versus a random guy. No offense to Juice. Well, this is, I mean, I understand your point. This is a title eliminator. We do have an actual interim women's championship match. So it could be that that women's match will main event. There is also a Ring of Honor World Championship match. That one. There's blood. There's blood. Yay! Scribble it out, James. Hang on. Scribble it. Oh, God. Moxley didn't bleed in a match. No. Oh. Oh, yeah. Yay! Let's get this. There we go. The kids are cheering away. Blood, 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 blood. Moxley was like, there it is. There's blood on the face of Juice Robinson. So up on his feet. Shakira's school teacher told her she was bad at singing and banned her from the choir. Her classmates stated she sounded like a goat. The greatest of all time. We're seeing MJF in the stands. She's got a very distinctive voice, hasn't she? She can sing, though. I always think, like, it's a bit deep at times, like that bit. I think that's Hips Don't Lie, I'm not sure. That's my Shakira impression. No, that's wherever, whenever, or summer. Whenever, we would be together. That one. You know that one. Classic. Big fan. As you can tell. Know all the words. Shakira is a goat, said Jim. Hold up. She sings. Yeah, good point. Good point. I still haven't recovered from the Super Bowl halftime show. Fred said Shakira is facing 10 years in prison. Oh. I've seen that with the tax thing. I would now do a joke where I use one of her songs, but I only know 2 songs and neither titles fit. Wherever, whenever doesn't really work, and Hips Don't Lie don't really work either. So it was a perfect opportunity to like go, oh, well, and then you go, oh. And everyone laughs, and it's such a great moment, but I just don't know any of her songs. Moxley is bleeding once again, said Horatio Mind. James said, in all seriousness, why bother with blood in such a random match? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he just bleeds easily. I mean, has he actually been busted open, or did he blade, or the fact it happens so often? I suppose, in a way, if he bleeds easily, then maybe it's that. I don't know. Having blood in this match makes no sense. I completely agree. Moxley charging up. I got to tell you, the crowd are sat on their hands here. This a red hot AEW crowd don't appear to be feeling this one too much. These two colliding into each other. One cutter by Moxley and kick out. Grabs a hold of the ankle. Just Nick said this is a bit pointless. Tommy said Mox is boring now. Greetings from Florida, said 904 Pinball Zine. Greetings, my friend. I hope things are going well there. Stay safe. Stay safe. Brenton said Ben Affleck wrote a screenplay in school and his teacher gave him a C. The screenplay was Good Will Hunting. Wow. Harsh critic. Moxley has looked extra choreographed. He isn't moving right. It's something seems off, says G. Lazarus. Powerbomb there by Juice. 1, 2. Kick out by Mox. Mox is the most overrated wrestler. He doesn't try to come up. Wow, people are... It makes sense his name is Juice, says Rotem. That should be Moxley's name. He should be Juice Moxley. Yeah, people aren't feeling this one, seemingly. Juice up top. Comes crashing down. Kick to the midsection. He was looking for the Death Rider, didn't get it, gets driven shoulder first into the ring post. Oh, plants him down. 1, 2, kick out by Moxley. He's too much freaking blood. What is with this? She says curse one. Tales of the Territories premiere. Yeah, I do want to see that. I was listening to Jim talk about that, Jim Cornette. He was, it sounds interesting. Each one's on a different territory, and it's like a round table thing, apparently. It's going to be on Vice from the makers of Darkseid. Juice Robinson has got Moxley on his shoulders. Airplane spin. Moxley landed on his feet. Juice Robinson went down and ended up getting kneed in the face. Now, kicks coming in by Moxley. I don't know what that was from Juice. That airplane spin, he only spun him around a couple of times. Armbar gets the win. Armbar win? Armbar win for Moxley. So there we go. Regal is done on commentary. Juice Robinson goes over to the corner. Moxley picks up the victory then. Mox should go to the doctor. He bleeds out of nowhere every week. Says doctor. Doctor said that. Moxley should see you. That was a bleep match. That was a weird ending, said Jeremy. Days Coolio, who sang Gangsta's Paradise, has died. No! Not Coolio! Ah, here's Hangman. Hangman's got a Dolly Parton shirt on. Hangman's got a pink Dolly Parton shirt on, and he's got some pink roses on his jeans. Hangman getting in the face of Moxley. Oh, I can't believe Coolio's died. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Coolio died Wednesday. Oh. Can't you give me good news, James? R.I.P. Coolio. Yeah, he did the Keenan and Kel song. Oh my God, this is a disaster. Ah, here goes. 59? 50? That's no age. Ah, here it goes. Oh, God, it's my youth. Gangsta's Paradise, one of the biggest songs when I was growing up. Keenan and Kel, one of my favorite songs. Oh, God. I'm a generational talent. I actually had the single as well. That's the front cover of the single. I've got that somewhere. Wheeler Yuta is behind MJF. Wheeler Yuta hurling MJF into the sofa. I can't see why he passed away. I'm too distracted by Coolio. They're dragging Wheeler Yuta off MJF. Wheeler Yuta just like throwing shots at the security. They're falling into the fans. Love those songs as well. I don't know what other songs he did. I've got a feeling I remember a follow-up to Gangsta's Paradise. See you when you get there. Oh, see you when you get there, get there, get there. See you when you get there. That's the one I remember. See you when you get there, get there. It wasn't the best song. Very repetitive chorus, but I remember it. He was red hot. See you when you get there, get there, get there. See you when you get there. Best Coolio songs of all time. Number 1, Gangster's Paradise. Number 2, Fantastic Voyage. I don't know. I don't think I know that. I think I might only know Gangster's Paradise. See You When You Get There in the Keenan and Kel one. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Floor is Lava. Ghetto Highlights. Rolling with My Homies. That was in the film Clueless, which I've never seen. Too Hot rings a bell, though. Too Hot rings a bell. I'm going to listen to Too Hot. Yeah, I don't know it. I don't know it, but it's good. It's my new favorite song. So Too Hot is sick. Get there. Oh God, I'm gutted. I mean, the thing is, when someone like this passes away, you're like, oh God. But it's not like he was still doing music, is it? I mean, I know 3 songs. I know, like, the truth is, I know 3 songs, and all 3 of them are from the 90s. So it's not like, I mean, like, I feel sorry for him that he's obviously dead, but it's not like he was still tuning out bangers and classics. So we, as a world, we've probably not been denied any new stuff, but I do feel sorry for him, of course. At the age of 59, that's no age. You'd like to have seen him have another 20 odd years. So, it doesn't say how he passed. I don't know what. Suffered a cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest is what's done. It's like a heart attack. A heart attack's took him away. God. Coolio had just performed a few days before. Bahama said, be careful, don't disrespect the legends. Hey, I think I've been nothing but respectful. Nothing but respectful. 59 is no age at all. Only a year older than my dad when he died, says James. Halftime scores. Yeah. Halftime scores. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime loves orange scores. Soda. I really want to know your halftime Hell scores. Loves orange soda. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. Is it true? Suspected cardiac arrest. Can't confirm without an autopsy. 6.9 Coolio. 6.51. 5. Kel loves orange soda. Shy Guy. Shy Garage. Shy Guy. That was another one from the 90s. Oh, Lord, have mercy, mercy, mercy. That was a great tune. That wasn't Coolio. The OG halftime score song is missed. 5, 6, 0, 7.56. MJF is the 6, 7, 3. I do. 6.5, 7.5. Amish in Paradise was better, says Eric. Tahil said 7.5. 6.5. 6.5. Lots of 6s. That sucks. That really sucks. This doesn't disrespect Coolio, but I know more about Gangster Paradise versus Weird Al Yankovic's parody. Okay. I've only seen that like once, to be honest. That was... I mean, I was around when Gangster's Paradise came out, and I bought it the week it came out. So I'm very much Gangster's Paradise. If you're Team Amish Paradise or Team Gangster's Paradise, I'm firmly Team Gangster's Paradise. That was out of the film. I want to say Dangerous Minds. I'm sure it was in that film. I know it was in a movie. Okay, hang on. We're getting something big now. Saraya. How do you spell her name? Saraya. Here we go. Saraya is here. This is my house, she says. Two-time world champion made her first appearance on last week's Dynamite. Saraya said, this is my house. Saraya, yes, please. A tectonic shift. Let's see what she's got to say. Yeah, that's nice. Nice word, tectonic. She's got chills. She's multiplying. I'm back. Welcome back. Come back. Welcome back. So you missed me. It's been a crazy road. She's damaged, but not broken. She's going to create change. She says, I am the revolution. I think she fluffed that line. She said, I'm the revolution here. I am the revolution because I am the revolution. I think she meant I was the revolution, like before, I'll be the revolution, now I am the revolution, or something like that. Don't know. That line felt a bit fluffed. Says, it's hard to talk, I'm so nervous. AEW. AEW is officially my house. You can give me time cues all you want. I'll leave this ring when I'm ready. Ladies are coming out. It's ladies' night. Give me time cues all you want. I'll leave when I'm ready. Athena. Is that the women's division? Is that it? Is this the women's division? 5 women. Wow. Look at this, guys. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed with this women's division. So, got Toni, Ember, Willow, Sky Blue. We haven't seen much of Sky Blue. I don't even know who's the blonde woman. Is that That's not Paige Van Zandt, is it? We're going to make a change. Gonna make a change. Starting with the champ. It's not the champ. It's the interim champ. This lady is finally being utilized. She was being utilized in WWE, but she walked out. I'm honored to be in the ring with you, Toni. Here we go. Here's Britt. Another shiny new toy. Is that Penelope Ford? Is she with these now? I don't remember her being with these. So Britt Baker's come out. I'm the face of this women's division. I put my neck on the line. But unlike yours, mine is strong enough to handle it. That's true. You've made such an impact. Half the people in this room don't know how to say your name. That's a great line. That's a brilliant line. Not the strongest comeback from Paige. Saraya. Okay, Britt has turned her attention to Toni Storm. I had high hopes for you, says Britt. I thought maybe Adam and Moxley were going to start making out with each other. I hope for the sake neither guy has bad breath. Are they seriously censoring now? Saraya, says Adam Cole, baby. I wish we could call her Paige. I wish we could call her Paige. I do love that that line, though. Half the people here don't know how to say your name. Because I've been struggling all stream. Jamie Hater chance. One misstep from you, and we'll be hearing the words "and new." Here is Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb about to make her way down. This has been an absolute cluster, to be honest. You want to hear from Saraya, and you want to hear what she's got planned. She brings out the women, she starts going down, she gets interrupted. Now we're basically just quickly going towards the next women's match. I mean, of all the ways you could have booked that segment, I feel like we've been denied, unless we're going to get something now, but I feel like we've been denied anything of substance. They've got eyes, they've got ears. So good to have a boss that actually finally listens to me. We're going to make this match a Lumberjack match. Okay. This is kind of trash. Well, there we go. This has now been turned into a Lumberjack match. That's a bigger problem for Toni Storm? That's not a big problem for Serena Deeb. That's a bigger problem for Toni Storm. Toni Storm can't be counted out. There can be no count-outs in a Lumberjack match because the Lumberjacks grab you and throw you back in. So that means that Toni Storm's champion's privilege, the fact that you can, the title can't change hands on a count-out, that's now been eliminated. So Serena Deeb shouldn't be upset about this. Toni Storm should be upset about this. Toni Storm should be the one that's, frustrated. Anyone gets chucked out the ring, they'll be chucked straight back in. Saraya said, okay, so my name's Saraya, just to get that out there. Saraya is god awful on the mic, says Zoom Station. There was nothing of substance. I mean, she came out, she said, oh, I'm nervous. It's been a while since done this kind of thing. That's totally fine. She's a face. She can get away with that. The crowd are warm to her for that. That's fine. But I feel like what I needed from that segment and what I wanted from that segment was something of substance where she's going to tell us what her intentions are. She said, I'm here to create change. And that is all we had. I'm here to create change. That is it. How? I understand, they're not going to give you all the answers week one. That's fine. But you could have given us some. You could have definitely given us some. Even if she said, I'm looking to start a new faction and I'm going to look for new recruits or something like this, and we didn't actually find out who, but at least we knew that that's the direction she wants to go in. I mean, she basically didn't say anything. She came out and she called out the women. Not even all the women came out at first. 5 women came down. She had praise for Toni Storm. Couple of shots fired at WWE, which, as I said, that's not something I like to see. I just think it's petty. I mean, don't forget, she said it's great to have a boss that finally listens to me. I mean, don't forget, she got injured, and so she was out with injury for a long, long time. They then had her under contract where they were paying her money just in an ambassador role. And when she left, she was very thankful to WWE for the support that they gave. And she was very thankful that they had been supporting her and that they'd given her that kind of ambassador. So now for her to go into AEW and say that feels cheap. Feels like there wasn't any need for her to say that. I much prefer Daniel Bryan's approach, or Bryan Danielson's approach, where he was he turned around and said that he has got nothing but good things really to say about WWE, and he wasn't going to come in and lay into them and all that. That just to me comes across as classier. It's just a classier thing. And I feel the exact same way the other way around. I would say the exact same if Cody went to WWE and started laying into AEW. I just think that would be petty as well. So for Paige, Saraya to come out, not really say anything, and the only thing that I would say she said of note was maybe a couple of shots at WWE. The best line there was Britt Baker saying half the crowd don't know how to say your name. Right. Well, anyway, look, that's it. We're done with that. That was the segment I was most looking forward to, and for me personally, it fell flat. Serena Deeb. So we've got Toni Storm against Serena Deeb. We are underway with this, and Saraya has gone on to commentary. So she's on commentary. Mitchell said, this is the second segment where we thought the focus was on someone only to set up a match between 2 others. What am I missing? That's a really good point. I don't know. I can't explain it. I can't explain that Saraya thing. That was your one chance. People will potentially tune in to hear what she's got to say, and I think those people are going to leave disappointed. And I understand that you can say tune in next week because Paige is going to reveal her plans, but how many people are going to do that? I think tuning in to see what she's got to say, you're only going to get the bump from that once. I don't know that you can get the bump from it a couple of times. Maybe that's what Tony's hoping. Perhaps Tony's hoping, well, I'll get people to tune in. She won't say anything. And then what I'll do is I'll do it again and say, but next time she's going to talk about what she wants to do and the change she wants to bring in. But I don't know that that's going to work, to be honest. Kick out by Serena Deeb. James said, WWE are currently doing pro wrestling better than AEW. Who would have thought that a while back? Rotem said, it's a good thing the Acclaimed... Oh, yeah, I read that one. That was good. Days, Toni is trying with the women's division. I will say if AEW ratings come out and the quarter hours dip big time during that women's segment, it's going to be rough until Saraya expects Toni to keep listening. Hang on. Toni is trying with the women's division. I will say if AEW ratings come out and that quarter dipped big, it's going to be rough. Will Saraya expect Toni to keep listening? Well, yes, I believe she will. And to a degree, he might have to if she's being paid a lot of money. Like, he is going to need to make her segments work. He is going to have to ensure that her segments don't bomb because he's seemingly spending a lot of money on her. So they can't really afford for that to be flat. Just seeing the dart results as Toni Storm charges over in the corner. Serena Deeb rolls up Toni and kick out. Deeb has grabbed the leg of Toni. Oh, tried for a dragon screw, but Toni just went down. Tried to pin Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb rolling through. Don't know what we're going for here, but it's all a little clunky. She's grabbing the arms. Okay, looks like we are getting somewhere. Nice stretch there by Serena Deeb. She's sitting down the neck and pulling the arms back. It's a nice stretch. One count. Nice submission hold here again by Serena. This match title has floated up toward the match title. Oh, it has, hasn't it? Why has it done that? Oh. Let's see if we can fix it. Let's float it back down. Has there ever been a lumberjack match for the women? Saraya says, I don't think so. Maybe that's the change she's looking to bring in. She's looking to put the women in matches and do things that we've not seen. Jamie Hayter running away from Willow. Willow chasing after. Lumberjacks are kind of fighting amongst themselves. Takeover by Serena Deeb, grabbing the leg. Look at the work Deeb's doing. Deeb is so impressive in the ring. Problem you've got is that a lot of these matches are just cold. I don't feel like there's been much build between Serena Deeb and Toni Storm. Just like there wasn't much build between Bryan Danielson and Daddy Magic. Just like there was not much build between Juice Robinson and Jon Moxley. Like, if this had been a feud that had had like weeks and weeks of build and this was the payoff, crowd would be a lot more into this. They would have been more into Moxley and Juice Robinson as well, but I do agree a lot of this is being hot-shotted. I'm really not feeling this week's episode. I'm really struggling with this week's episode. And look at the crowd. They're just absolutely dead. Deeb gets thrown. Big back body drop by Toni Storm. Toni going over to the corner. Toni perched. Crossbody. Deeb rolls through. Grabs the leg. Turns it over. Single leg Boston Crab. I wonder why she does that. Like, it's not a criticism. I just wonder why she goes for a single leg rather than a double leg. She loves the single. She always does the single, but I wonder. I don't know why. Kick coming in by Toni Storm. Pushes Deeb back in the corner. Deeb goes down. Toni Storm charges over. Collides into Serena Deeb. Deeb in the center, but nice. Takes Toni Storm down. Rolls through. Reversed by Toni Storm. She's got... Oh, pile driver. Pile driver by Toni. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Shoulder up by Serena Deeb. Saraya making $4 million a year. Is that real, or are people trolling? I have no idea. I have not seen it actually confirmed how much she's making, so I don't know where that's come from. Dragon Screw by Serena. It might have been reported by Dave. I know Dave had some information on it, but I didn't actually see what was reported. Mitchell said, for a promotion that prides themselves on long-term storytelling, there is a lack of stories. I love both companies. I don't want to be a mark, but what's going on with AEW? To be honest, I think what's going on is the altercation has resulted in massive changes. Avalanche pile driver, 1, 2, 3, and that's right. That's the finish. Toni Storm gets the win. Avalanche pile driver. Yeah, I think what's happened is the altercation has meant that CM Punk is not on TV. It means that so there's no CM Punk, there's no Young Bucks, there's no Kenny Omega. Like, that's caused big disruption. Plus, I think a lot of your storylines have played out all in, whatever it is. And also Grand Slam. I mean, last week was Grand Slam. That was a massive show. All In was not that long before. So yeah, you know, there's it's just a weird time at the moment. It kind of feels like we need to start new feuds. Is the Acclaimed next week is National Scissoring Day? Bring your big scissors. Bring your signs. I like that. That's good. That's good. They're setting up something big for next week. They're telling the fans, bring your signs. Bring your big scissors. Next week is National Scissoring Day. Billy Gunn, you physically got involved. You boys got carried, said Keith Lee. Tell Swerve I've got 2 words for him. Scissor me. Okay, that was the best part of the night. The Acclaim promo is the best part of the night. I love the fact that they're doing that and setting up next week. That's going to make something interesting next week as we tune in, and the crowd are going to be red hot and they're going to have loads of signs, and it's going to be good. Maybe someone will take an actual pair of giant scissors, says J.E. Lazarus. Heather said Tony had to rearrange a lot of stuff because of that brawl a few weeks to reset. I agree with that. I mean, who knows where we would be if that hadn't have taken place. And I think the fact that we're just coming off 2 massive shows means that even if you did have CM Punk and Bucks and Kenny, I think you still would be in a position where, you know, this is a natural, it's a natural lull as we now start building towards, you know, the next big shows, and we start getting new feuds and laying some groundwork, and, you know, it's fine. It's just one of them weeks. It's the calm after the storm. It's the dip in the roller coaster. You know, when you go up, you got to come back down. And it feels like one of those weeks to me. Jim said, I think the main program right now would have been Punk against MJF, says Jim. Ava said, Scissor Me is trash and weird. There's no denying it's over, though. There's no denying it's over. Adam said, someone will bring a giant scissor prop from the Big Lebowski. Wrestling with Art said, I just learned that Coolio had a cooking show on YouTube called Cooking with Coolio. Good name. I mean, it does as it says, isn't it? No messing around. I appreciate that. Undercover said, let's stop wasting time on Wednesdays. Boycott AEW. Nah, because it's hit and miss, innit? I mean, it's just like WWE. We've seen some more god-awful WWE shows. But, some weeks you have like rubbish stuff, some weeks you have good stuff. There's good stuff in AEW. I really like the Acclaimed. I really like Bryan Danielson. I really like Serena Deeb. It is a shame that we've had 2 of those things this week, and I thought the Danielson match was all right in truth. The Serena Deeb was working her socks off. But I think the crowd, if you're going to give this crowd, Philly is normally a fantastic crowd as well. But I just think a lot of these matches have had no build. There's no background to them. There's no red hot feud. I mean, even Jericho Bandidos, that's come out of nowhere. So, I think what was going to carry this show for me personally was that Saraya segment. And there's no excuse for that Saraya segment to be as bad as what it was. There's no excuse for that. She could have come out and made some big announcements and really got people talking. But instead, it went nowhere. Hang on, we got Private Party, Andrade. Is that Butcher? Is that Butcher and Blade? I mean, that's Blade. Is that what Butcher looks like now? Is that Butcher? I didn't recognize, but if that is Butcher, I didn't recognize him. Matt Hardy's here. We're connected. We've always been connected. Get out of your deal, and I will be here waiting. So Matt Hardy wants to reunite with Private Party. Okay, Ricky Starks. Got love for Ricky Starks. Let's see what Ricky can do. Mitchell said the issue with the women's division having nothing to do with the AEW media scrum. Let's not let them off over something that's got nothing to do with 8 men. No, and as I said, that last segment, there's no excuse for that. I agree. The fact that Saraya segment didn't deliver, I agree. You can't. Nothing you can say about that. But that women's segment is not the only downside of this week's show. Not too smart to book a show in the middle of a hurricane and at where the storm is located, says nobody. Tony said, this show doesn't make sense most of the time. Ricky is amazing, said Jim. I like Ricky. I like Ricky. This came from Meltzer, but apparently Tony Khan bought Saraya in because Triple H was bringing talent back, and Tony decided to sign her and not hold off on it, says Primo. Ricky in control. Got this guy up on his shoulders and plants him down. I like this dude's ring gear. That's good. A lot of ring gear is dark and drab and boring. That guy was in bright yellow and white, and it looked kind of smart. Fair play to that dude. He might have been a jobber, but... David Paul said, I think the Philly fans are quiet out of respect for the shooting. 5 kids shot, 1 died after football practice, says David. I don't know. I don't know. I can't comment. I don't know. My feeling is that if this show had matches that had a better build or some sort of build, I don't think they would be quiet then. Is my gut feeling. But obviously, I am not in America. I am not in Philadelphia. So maybe you're right. We've got a Dynamite anniversary show coming up, I think, next week. We got Jungle Boy. Just seeing Jungle Boy looking frustrated. A promo and storyline are not the same, says nobody. Tar Heel said, I don't think people realize Tony Khan told people not to show because of the hurricane. That's a good point as well, yeah. So this show probably got some disruption from that also. I don't know who was meant to be on this show that isn't, so that's a fair point. We've got the fans in reduced to Bandido somehow. Scott said, honestly, America makes me feel like I'm in paradise in the UK, says Scott. Okay, Daniel Garcia and Danielson against Jericho and Sammy is next week. Dynamite main event. So Jericho against Bandido is going to be our main event. Bandido. Boom. Time for the main event, said Legend Killer. Ricky and MJF could be AEW's Brett and Sean, says Jim. That's an interesting thought. Primo said, seeing how Saraya was saying all these nice things about Vince and WWE, is she little holding sour grapes because Vince let her contract run out and she didn't renew it? I think maybe there could be a little bit of that. There might also be a feeling that she could compete and do a match, but WWE wouldn't clear her. And so maybe she's been sat on the sidelines more than she wanted. If she's about to come in and have a match in AEW, but WWE wouldn't do that, then there might be some sour grapes over that as well. I just think, to be honest, I think she said it more, and I could be wrong, but I think she said it more because I think she knows that it will play well to this crowd. If you come into a company and you want to get, an easy way of getting some recognition or winning the fans over, one of the ways you could win the fans over is by doing what you see other people doing, and that is just stick it to WWE. I mean, the show opened with Appreciate Us, which is clearly a rip on Acknowledge Me. And you've got Jericho doing the whole sports entertainment thing, poking fun at that. So, I can see why she's come in, looked at the landscape and thought, well, it'll play well to the fans if I show them that I am, AEW through and through, and that I'm grateful that I've got, a boss that's going to listen to me. And, I think it was just that. I don't know that she's necessarily got an axe to grind. It might just be more that she feels that it will play well to the fans to say it. Oh my God, we have to hear these people sing twice, says Adam. Was Vince still in charge when her contract wasn't extended, or was Triple H taking her? I think it was Vince. Don't think Triple H ended it. I think it was Vince. It's funny, all this anti-WWE, but Tony says he is nice to them, says Jim. To be fair, late Vince sucked. He killed the Nexus. He ruined Bray. He let popular stars go because of budget cuts. I don't like... code name for I don't like the look of you, says Jaden. Right, crowd chanting. Crowd's a bit vocal for this one as we're about to get underway with Jericho against Bandido. Sticks finger up at Bandido. Bandido with a right hand, and Jericho goes down. Jericho against the ropes. So we got 19 minutes left in the show. So main event getting a bit of time here. Kick to the side of the head there by Jericho. Really tired of ex-WWE people going to AEW and taking digs at the company that made them who they are most of the time. That's a fair point. Eric said it's a filler episode. There's no need to panic. There will be better ones once they start building for Full Gear. I agree with that, Eric. I agree with that. Adam said, how can Bandido see in that mask? Well, he's used to it, I would imagine, by now. Bandido flying through the ropes, colliding into Jericho, going over the top rope, comes crashing down onto Jericho. Brenton said, I missed the Saraya segment. Can you recap it? You didn't miss much. She came out, said that she's damaged but not broken, wants to create change, called out the women's division, praised Toni Storm. Britt Baker came out, was quite good on the mic, Britt. She said half of these people can't even pronounce your name, which I thought was a great line because I've struggled with it. It's not Saraya, it's Saraya. So, yeah, she came out and said that. Basically, we just went straight to Serena Deeb against Toni Storm. Paige said, I've spoke to Toni. Next match is going to be a Lumberjack match. So nothing of significance was said. She did take a couple of shots at WWE, and we were just talking about that. Paige said it's great to work for a boss that actually listens to her. Daisy's saying is the show needs more QR codes and rabbits, says AEW fan. Definitely. That's what's missing, but... The more I think about it, if we take how Tony Khan acts every time he's on, don't know what you mean by that. Abby said Moxley's match was trash. Fans had no idea who Juice was. Khan should hire an experienced booker instead of wasting money on people like Saraya, says Cliff Beavers. I'm only interested in Jungle Boy and Christian feuds, says Frenchie. Kicks coming in by Jericho. I mean, look, I think there's been a lot of negativity on this stream towards this week's episode. I don't think this is an episode of Dynamite that's going to go down as a classic, but I do think it's worth bearing in mind the points that have been made about how there were wrestlers meant to be on this show that aren't because of the hurricane. I think that is a very, very valid point. I also think the media scrum and the altercation and all of that, I think that is a very, very valid point that, you know, no CM Punk, no Kenny Omega, no Young Bucks, you know, all of that has played a factor. It, you know, it might not be the biggest factor, but it's played a factor. And also the fact we're coming off 2 shows means that this is, as we said, you know, we need to start new feuds. It is what it is. The crowd have been quite quiet. Maybe there is something in, like, you know, obviously the shoot-ins, and maybe that has, I don't know, maybe that is playing on the mind. I don't know. I can't comment because I'm not there. 1, 2, Bandido going for the cover, shoulder up by Jericho. Do you think Saraya being paid more than other women will cause trouble, says AEW fan? No, the only woman that I could see having an issue with it is Britt Baker. No other woman deserves to be paid that sort of money. I mean, what, can Toni Storm have an issue with it? Could Athena have an issue with it? Could... God, no, I can't make an argument for any woman in AEW having an issue with not being paid the money that Saraya is being paid. Apart from potentially Britt Baker, who is head and shoulders above every other woman in regards to star power. I would argue the best in-ring is Serena Deeb, but I think Serena Deeb knows that she's not the star that Paige is. You know, when you pay that money, you're paying for, you know, the bump in the ratings, basically. It's going to be interesting to see how the ratings come out. I am interested to know, did people tune into this to see Paige talk? Is she a draw? Is she a draw? Have people tuned in for that? This suplex is really strange, isn't it? Because he's actually got him at a 45-degree angle. He doesn't have him at a 90-degree angle. It's really weird. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what this is. That was like a delayed vertical suplex, but he didn't have him at 90 degrees. The whole reason why you do a delayed vertical suplex is for the blood to rush to the head. And there was points there where he was at 45 degrees. One point towards the end, he was at 90. It was like basically holding him flat. Bandido's gone up top. Shimmies. 1, 2. Shoulder up by Jericho. He held him up for 30 seconds. He got tired. Who is Paige, says Wes. So should Saraya reprise her GM role? That would be excellent. That would be good. Yep. If she was overseeing the women's division, I think that'd be good. And keeps her on TV quite a bit. Means that she doesn't need to wrestle all the time. I've got no problem with that. She was good as a GM. She can talk, but you just need to give her like some direction and something to say. I think if you give her a microphone and chuck her out there, I don't know that she's going to be that good. Philly is waiting for the real show, Extreme Rules. QR code on the right tunnel that takes you of a video of how to pronounce Paige's new name, says Sila. Very good. Bandido in the corner. Jericho going up. Shot to the midsection. We still don't know if Saraya can wrestle, said Zoom Station. Very true. Bahamask said, for those of us non-NXT fans or lapsed WWE fans, who is Saraya and is she that good? Haven't heard anyone talk about her on this stream until she came out. If you've never watched her in WWE, I mean, yeah, I suppose those people do exist. I've just presumed everyone knew who she was, to be honest. She was involved in the first NXT women's title match, and she was crowned the first NXT women's champion. That was really significant because before that, women were being produced, but they were being produced and trained as divas, where looks were so important. You could argue more important than wrestling ability. You know, we're talking around the time of like diva searches and things like that. And, she came in as the anti-diva. So she was very much rebelling against how women were being perceived. And she got over. People really appreciated that. Here was a girl who, she was a good looking girl, but she was someone that was dark hair. She wasn't the blonde. She wasn't interested in doing bra and panty matches and, bikinis and all that kind of stuff. She wanted to be a wrestler. She was from a wrestling family in the UK. They had their own wrestling promotion. Her mom wrestled when she was pregnant with Paige. So, she was the anti-diva. And that was a gimmick that played very well. They put the title on her. This was before Charlotte, Sasha, Becky. In many ways, she helped lay the table. She helped set the stage for the other women to then, shine, basically. I mean, we would have got there eventually. We would have still ended up where we are, even if Paige hadn't have been involved. But it's just she was a big part of it, big part of it. And then she went up to the main roster. She won the title on her first match on a call-up. Big moment after WrestleMania. That was great. AJ Lee in the ring. Paige comes down to congratulate her as NXT champion. AJ Lee says, well, I'll put my title on the line to face you tonight. I fancy beating someone else. And then Paige wins. Shock win. Great moment. Brilliant. One of my favorite Raw after WrestleMania moments, actually. It was brilliant. Then she's on the main roster, and she's still very much that kind of anti-diva, very much trying to, provide something a bit different. And she just got over. She was really over, really popular. And then obviously they did the Fighting With My Family film. It's not often that people get films about their lives, certainly not as young as what Paige was when they did it. But they wanted to tell her story of coming from the UK, coming from a wrestling family, maybe being a little bit out of sync with how you should be. You know, like she wasn't just someone that was coming in that was just no personality, get your head down, do the work. She was full of personality and constantly getting into trouble and doing things that she shouldn't be doing. But then, yeah, injury took her out. But I think because of the impact she had, she's kind of held in very, very high regards. And I think the fact her career was cut short, she was held in high regard as well. And people always wondered, like, man, how big would Paige be now if she had have stayed and been able to compete? Because, you know, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, Alexa. Imagine if Paige had stayed healthy and she was in that mix as well. I don't know where we would have got to. I can't say she would have been the biggest star. I think Charlotte would have, you know, eclipsed her. I think Becky would have eclipsed her. I think Sasha would have eclipsed her. And Bailey maybe would have eclipsed her. But I do think Paige would have been in the conversation. Maybe she would have been like Alexa. She would have been Alexa level. You know, like Alexa has won world championships, but she's not main evented WrestleMania. She's not the same level as a Charlotte, a Bailey, a Sasha. She's not perceived to be on that same level. Or at least I don't perceive her to be on that level, Alexa. Shoulder up by Jericho. So maybe Paige would have settled at around that kind of level. We don't know. But the mystery means that she's kind of seen as this bigger, larger than life and all of that. And then I think you've got to look at, like, you know, the leaks, the kind of sex tape releases and that kind of stuff. I mean, she was the talk of the town, you know, in a good and a bad way. But yeah, I think that played a factor as well, to be honest. Can't ignore that. So yeah, she's come in. She's a big deal. She's got a big contract. I don't know how she's going to do, though, because a lot of it comes down to mystery of, like, how would she have done if she'd have stayed in WWE? Hard to predict AEW's ratings. 2 weeks ago, they did 1.1. Then they lost 136 for Grand Slam, which is strange. You never see WWE fans having these kind of strange viewing for big events. Yeah, I don't know. Predicting ratings is hard. Jim said Paige was in a league of her own. Brenton said people are scared of Saraya potentially getting injured. My question is, were they scared when Edge came back? Yeah, I think there was concern of when Edge came back that he needed to be careful with his neck and everything. But obviously, we've seen him in so many matches now. I think that has gone. I don't know that when we see Edge, we worry so much about him anymore. But yeah, when he first came back, it was definitely like, oh, need to be careful. Need to, like, you know, we didn't know how much we would be able to get out of Edge. But here we are over 2 years later. It'll be 3. I mean, he came back at the Rumble 2020. Not that far away from Rumble 2023. So, you know, he's come back. He's done a good 3 years. Do you think it's a missed opportunity Paige never got a run as women's champ? Well, she did. She got Divas Championship, which was the women's championship. I mean, by the time she goes, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you exactly when she picked up her injury compared to when the championship changed over from the Divas Championship. So I don't know how much time we had to play with. So I can't say. So I can't. It's not a missed opportunity because she did get the Divas one, and at the time that was the women's championship. So she's a 2-time world champion. So it's not like we never got there with her. If we never got there with her, yes, 100%, it would have been a missed opportunity. But she held the biggest belt a woman can hold in wrestling twice. Call it a Divas Championship, call it a Women's Championship, it's irrelevant. It's the same thing. It's the biggest prize a woman can have. Jericho climbing up. Disappointed at all of the negativity and disrespect at Saraya, says L. Sean. Bandido slumped against the ropes. Jericho climbing up. 4 minutes to go. Bandido climbing up. Forearm strike. Got them up top, and Bandido looking to Spanish fly, maybe. It's got him up. Spanish fly by Bandido. Jericho is planted down, and crowd respond to that. Crowd impressed with that Spanish fly as Aubrey counts 2. 2 count as Jericho gets his shoulder up. Hopefully this is just a one-off bad show because of the changes, says James. Yep, it could be. If someone had to get released, who would it be? I don't know. I don't want to speculate as to who's getting released or who would be released. Wrestler Andy said, how much longer do you think Jericho will wrestle? He's been active for about as long as The Undertaker was and still going strong. Well, I think he loves wrestling, doesn't he? He loves coming out, being in front of a crowd. He loves entertaining. He just loves being in front of people, whether that's with Fozzy or in front of wrestling. And I mean, look, he'll ride this till the wheels come off. I don't know. I don't know if he's set a deadline, to be honest. 1, 2, kick out by Jericho. There was a girl from a dive bar that was known as Spanish Fly, says Tony. What would you rate AEW for the year so far? Oof. I don't know. That's hard. I mean, I probably wouldn't be that high. I mean, I feel like there's good and bad in all wrestling promotions. I don't think... I mean, WWE's interesting because they've just had this massive change with Vince, but I actually went back and recapped and watched a couple of shows earlier in the year, comparing what we get now to what we had earlier in the year. God, they were awful. They were awful. I bet at the time we probably scored it like a 6, half 6, something like that, 6.5, maybe 7s. But looking at them now, they feel more like 4.5s and 5s. Like the quality of the shows is undeniably better under Triple H. It's interesting, actually. Go back and watch an old show or just even look at like some of the segments on the network, and God, some of it's god awful. Jericho's picked up the win. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd probably be about 6.5, 7, something like that for AEW. But I might not be that much kinder to WWE, but I do think now Triple H is in charge. And certainly the White Rabbit stuff, which has been brilliant. They could have a great 2023. Okay, Jericho said he's going to beat every great champion that's ever held the Ring of Jericho title. How's he going to destroy every Ring of Honor champion? Like Nigel McGuinness is one of the biggest Ring of Honor champs, but... Okay. So Jericho saying that he's going to destroy everyone connected with Ring of Honor. And that's how the show ends. Danielson is going to get that belt off him, says Heather. Right, let's get the score. What do you score AEW? 8-10. 7-7-5. 6-6-7-5. 5-7-5. Or below. How much longer do you think Vince stuff will be flushed out of WWE? Maximum Male Models, Otis, Gable, goofiness. Seems like Triple H is holding onto some Vince stuff for some reason. I think you just go with whatever you think like works, or whatever you think you can do something with, basically. You see, the Maximum Male Model stuff, I don't have a problem with that. I know lots of people do, but I just think they're a jobber team. They're a jobber heel team, and there's lots of things you can do with a jobber heel team. But why not have them like posing and fancying themselves? We've said before, heels that think they're the bee's knees, that think they're beautiful, that's as old as wrestling. I mean, Gorgeous George in the 50s used to come down thinking he was stunning, call himself gorgeous. And he would come down prancing down to the ring, and everyone would boo him and hate on him because he thought he was like so beautiful and he was the bee's knees. Ravishing Rick Rude's another example. For me, Maximum Male Models, they come out, they pose in these clothes, they look stupid, they're meant to look stupid. You're not meant to like them, you're meant to boo them. And, they're a tag team which, when they get in the ring, they put other teams over. Like, I don't have a problem with Maximum Male Models. And I think Triple H might, I can't say for certain, but might view it as the same thing. Like, I've got a couple of guys here who can do all right in the ring. They're not amazing. But, you can't always just have teams that are going to be at the top of the card and people that are going to be at the top of the card. Like, you need people to put those people over. You need jobbers, you need mid-carders, you need main eventers, but you need a nice mix. Look at the Bushwhackers. Bushwhackers were never main title contenders. Never. I don't think they ever won the tag titles in WWE. But wow, what a fun team. They used to just be jobbers, basically, but they were face jobbers. They'd come down, do the walk, lick people. Hey! Who doesn't love the Bushwhackers? I love the Bushwhackers. But that was like a team with a gimmick, but they were jobbers, and they would put other people over. And Maximum Male Models are, in a way, a heel kind of version of that. It's just they're not fun. They're not meant to be fun. They're just meant to pose and think they look amazing. So yeah, I don't know. I must admit, I'm not too down on that. I mean, you can change it. I don't have like a strong emotional connection to it. You can change it, but I'm not too fussed by it. And then like Otis and Gable, I suppose Alpha Academy, the shoosh thing. I'm not too against that either, though. Thank you. I mean, you can look at it and go, oh, it's just silly. We need to get rid of it. But I don't know. I mean, like, it depends what kind of a product you want. If you want it to be like super serious wrestling, I don't know that WWE will ever be that, because it tries to entertain kids and it tries to be family entertainment. I don't know that Triple H is ever going to just give you like what you get with UFC, just kind of match, promo, match, serious promo, match, another promo, like, and not have any of that stuff. I don't know that WWE will ever do that. And I don't think they should. I think like you do need to have a bit of sports entertainment, a bit of catering for the kids. I mean, that's how we all got into it. I got into WWE because of like, the sports entertainment aspect. You see the Big Boss Man against Nails. You see the Undertaker. And you see like, things along those lines. These larger-than-life characters. I mean, all of that sports entertainment. I mean, what the hell's an Ultimate Warrior? What the hell's a Papa Shango? Like, all of that's obviously sports entertainment. So I don't think you'll ever lose that. And I really don't think they should. If there's other promotions that think that they can do just wrestling and promos and not have any of those kind of gimmicks, then, they should give it a go. But they're few and far between. I mean, I think to be honest, that might have been something AEW thought they could do. Maybe. Because they said they were going to be more sports orientated. But clearly it's not gone that way. And I think the truth is that, like, if you want ratings and you want families to tune in, you want kids to tune in, you've got to give them that kind of content. I mean, look, how much Maximum Male Models are bringing in ratings? It's they're probably not, but it's just an example of the kind of thing I think you do need to mix in. Mike said, I love the Bushwhackers because they're from New Zealand. Philip said, if you give Tony Khan one piece of advice, what would it be to make it better? Go slower. Go slower. I think that it's too fast. Everything's too fast. We burn through matches too fast. Everything's too quick. Slow build things slower. Still have segments that focus on stories and whatever, but some of the long-term booking stories we've seen have been brilliant. Like, people loved Hangman, like, building his way towards the title, and people really enjoyed the Wardlow story. I mean, think about how long Wardlow was in the background of MJF, and they were together for so long. And, finally, when it pays off, that's one of the biggest payoffs, is when Wardlow turns on MJF. One of the biggest kind of moments is when Hangman wins the title. Granted, when he got it, it didn't go that well. But the actual build towards him getting the belt, people were on that, loving that. And it just feels like a lot of matches are just like so quick. We just burn through so many matches. We're just like, we need something new and shiny every single week to get the ratings. And I don't know, it'd be interesting if, like, just slow build and take his time a little bit more. So I personally would say go slower. I think the in-ring stuff is good. I think in-ring is fine. Granted, maybe not so much this week, but by and large, you're always going to get at least one good match on Dynamite. So I think in-ring wise is absolutely fine. Promos, I mean, look, I think some of the promos are a bit off, but you look at people like MJF and you look at people like Christian and you look at people like Eddie Kingston. There's plenty of people that are getting promos right and doing, like, decent work with promos. I think Britt Baker's a good promo. I mean, she came down and said a few things today. Granted, you look at Wheeler Yuta and you think, need some work there. And you look at a few people and, maybe it's not quite right. But I think by and large, there's something there with promos. There's something there with the wrestling. They've got big names. They've got good talent. They've got quite a deep talent pool as well. It's not like they've just got a few names and that's it. They've got, there's people, as we said, we haven't seen Andrade that much. And we haven't seen Miro that much. There's plenty of people we don't see on a regular basis. But I feel like we need to just take our time. I think, like, everything's too quick and we just burn through matches and we burn through feuds. And if you took your time, then you could really build up matches. Like, again, the build for this week was flat. Jericho against Bandido, a certain amount of people are going to care. I would have to say, to be truthful, I think the vast majority wouldn't care about that main event because it's come out of nowhere. And Bandido is someone we just don't see. So who cares? Same with Juice Robinson. It's not on the show every week. Who cares? I mean, yeah, look, it's exciting. Bring him in from New Japan and all this kind of stuff. But if you're going to do that, then it needed to have a few weeks of, like, tell me why Juice is coming in. Tell me why we're doing this match. Tell me why I should care. Give me a reason to care. Tell me why this match is important and build it up. And I don't think that build was there for really any of the matches tonight. So again, look, it's easy to stick the knife in. This is just an example, isn't it, this week? But that's what I would look to do, is build up matches, take your time with things. If you want to do a Jericho match, you don't need to do it this week. Could have been set up for 2 weeks' time. You could have had 2 weeks build. You could constantly be building matches for a few weeks' time and then paying them off. Like, I had praise earlier for just that very short segment where the Acclaimed made it very clear that next week is going to be National Scissoring Day. And so what they've done intentionally is they've told the fans that are coming next week, bring your signs, bring your scissors, bring your energy. Like, just with that very short 15-second announcement, they have now ensured that next week's going to be massive for them. Next week will be big Because if I was going to AEW next week, I'm thinking I need an Acclaim sign. Like, everyone's going to be bringing scissors. Everyone's going to be bringing Acclaim signs because next week is National Scissoring Day. I mean, that was great. That sets something up for next week. And, you know, you could argue the Danielson, Garcia against Jericho, Sammy Guevara match, that being made for next week. You know, there's a bit of a backstory to that. And obviously that's involved in a feud where Garcia is trying to figure out. See, that's the problem. There is a story there. It's just that it's a rubbish story. Like, Garcia, is he a wrestler? Is he a sports entertainer? I can answer that. He's a wrestler. Right, done. Right, that's it. We don't need to dwell on it. He's a wrestler. There's no conflict. He's a wrestler. Yeah, he should be in Blackpool Combat Club. He shouldn't be in Jericho Appreciation Society. So, you know, you are telling a long-term story there, but that one's not very good. And I don't think that it's very intriguing. And I think really Garcia just needs to leave, go to Blackpool Combat Club, and let's focus on a different story. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Primo said, when AEW was doing Forbidden Door with New Japan, the ratings were tanking at 800,000. Even the June 15th episode did 761. The audience didn't care that much about New Japan. It is niche. I agree with that. I think that the hardcore wrestling fans, which is, you know, a good chunk of the AEW audience, I think they are into, you know, seeing the New Japan people coming over. But if they want growth, then, you know, you need to do a much better job of telling people why they should care, why these people matter. And you can't really do it whilst the match is happening or as they're making their way down the ramp. Like, you need video packages. You need to build things up. You need them coming in and attacking. You need all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you just couldn't do that, the level of work that was required, really. In order for Forbidden Door. I don't know that Forbidden Door is viewed as a success or not internally. I don't know if it did what they were hoping it would do. I think it generated a buzz. It generated a buzz online because, oh, you know, wow, it's happening. You know, we're seeing these two promotions, major promotions, working with each other. Obviously, the matches we ended up getting were not quite the dream matches people were hoping for, but we did get big names, in all fairness. But I don't know that card ended up being the card people wanted because of injuries and everything. But, you know, that's out of their control. And obviously, I think they've plans to do it again, so maybe next year's will be even better. But, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think if they are looking to beat Raw and get up to those kind of levels, I don't think the New Japan stuff was what was going to do it. But in all fairness, you don't really know that until you try it. You don't really know until you try it. You know, you don't really know how many people are going to be so interested in these two major promotions working together. You know, it could have created a buzz and people could have tuned in. So I'm not down on them doing it. It was definitely worth a try. But I think we can definitely look at the ratings around that time and say that it didn't quite land. So yeah, little bit niche. I mean, you know, how many people watch AEW and watch New Japan? I've got to think that number's quite small. The amount of people that watch New Japan in North America, I don't think it's that many. I mean, it's a lot easier to watch Impact, isn't it? And Impact gets, 200, 300,000? So I've got to think it's well below that for New Japan. So all of a sudden now, if you're bringing these New Japan stars in, who are you catering to? Yes, people will have checked out New Japan and heard the names. But, I don't know. It's niche. I agree. It's niche. Mitchell said, I love both companies. When something sucks call it out. Don't be like, listen to him, Cornette, or his co-host. If they were in charge, they would suck as well. Cornette is a mark for himself. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Cornette is great with wrestling history. I think that he has got a style of wrestling that he likes, and it's not AEW. And I can appreciate that because, you know, the styles of wrestling that I can't get on with. So I think that he is He likes what he likes. And, it is what it is. So I think there's a lot of people that just hate on AEW because it's a cool thing to do now. I think, like, Cornette has made it, dare I say, cool to hate on AEW. And I don't subscribe to that. I think AEW do some really good stuff. As I said, I really like Deeb. I really like Danielson. I really like the fact they got Saraya. I like the fact they brought in William Regal. There's things about the show that I do enjoy. Acclaimed, love Acclaimed, think they're brilliant. Love FTR, think they're brilliant. So, they've definitely got things going for them. So I don't, that mentality I think is completely wrong. That's completely wrong. But you can't deny it's become tribal. But that's partly down to AEW. AEW have taken shot after shot after shot to WWE. They have made it very clear that they're positioning themselves as the anti-WWE. And so it has been forced to become tribal. Like now you are Team AEW or you are Team WWE. And it did not have to be that way. It did not have to be that way. AEW could have started and they could have said that they respected WWE and they just want to offer, more wrestling. Not an alternative, but more. Like, you've got WWE on a Monday and a Friday. Well, we want to give you wrestling on a Wednesday. And, we're going to put a show on after SmackDown, basically. We want to give you more wrestling. Not an alternative. We just want to give you more. And we want to, give some of those wrestlers out of work a place to work. I mean, like, you could have positioned it as a real positive. You could have positioned it as being like, we're here for the love of wrestling, But instead it wasn't. It was positioned as the anti-WWE with shots being taken to WWE at the very start. They wanted all those lapsed WWE fans that felt disconnected from WWE. They wanted them. They wanted to attract them. And it became tribal. And WWE were not innocent in this, right? I mean, don't forget the Hall of Fame where Triple H called them, was it like a pissant company? And he said that Vince was going to buy them and shut them down and all this. Like, it's undeniable that shots have been taken from both sides. And who knows, AEW could have positioned themselves like that. And then WWE could still have tried to have made it tribal. So, WWE might still have attacked them and tried to make them out to be the enemy. So, maybe there was no way of that working, but I think AEW could have played their part and at least tried. But they decided this is the way they want to go. It all became tribal, and now you've got people hating AEW just because they're AEW. But that's not what we do. As I said, I do like some of the stuff that they do, hence why we watch it. I could easily not. I mean, these streams, I don't know. I can have a look. I can tell you exactly right now. It says about 5,500 views. 5,500 views. I could have done a White Rabbit video tonight that would have done that. I would not have had to have sat here for 3 hours to have done it as well. So, the reason we watch it is because we want to watch it. We don't have to watch it. But we tune in and we watch it because they do some good stuff some weeks. But I do have to say this week, I don't think was one of them. Right, how many? 200 votes. That'll do us. Let's end the show. James said WWE wouldn't have taken shots back if AEW didn't fire them first. Mm-hmm. Jim said, I'm Team Pro Wrestling. That's the best. That's the best team, Jim. You're on the best team. What do you score AEW? Right, 6 to 675. I think that's fair. 29%. 575 or below, 27%. That's low. I can't say it's too low. But it's just, we don't normally see these kind of numbers. 7 to 775, 22%. 8 to 10, 20%. So 1/5 of people, 20% of people thought this was still a really solid, really, really good show. But it is 6 to 675 that's won out. And I don't think that's unfair at all. Wrestle with Andy said they need to sell foam scissors. Oh, God, mate, you need to email them that. You've just made them, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. At 1,000%, they need to do that. You need to send them an email. You need to send them a tweet because that is exactly what they need to do. Why no one has thought to do that is beyond me. They need scissors with the Acclaimed written along like the blade or something. Yeah, absolutely. Imagine if they were foam scissors that actually opened and closed as well. Like, honestly, we've got that kind of technology now where we could dare to dream. We could dare to dream that is something that happens. Old school foam scissors would just be cut out. But I think if we really focus on where we are as a species in 2022, I think we can dare to dream that the scissors would actually open and close. Yeah. God, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. That's a great shout, Wrestler Dandy. Great shout. I like it that when two companies go at each other, it's best for business on both sides, says Tony. I'm Team Sports Entertainer, said List of Jericho. Do you think the White Rabbit will come out at 9:23 at Extreme Rules? I don't know, tricky. You see, the 9:23 was in blue, which made it seem like it was going to be something to do with SmackDown. And then at 9:23, it's really hard to know what happened. Here in the East Coast and in the UK, we were at commercial break. Now, I believe White Rabbit played during the commercial, but that's not really anything special because it plays like twice on each show. So, I don't know, that's a bit weird. But on the West Coast, apparently at 9:23, that's when the fireball was thrown. I'm told the fireball was at 9:23, Scarlett's fireball. So I don't know what 9:23 was meant to be. I don't know if it was botched or if it hasn't played off yet, but it was in blue. So that definitely seems to suggest SmackDown. It is worth pointing out that at 9:23 on Raw, that's when the person in the crowd had the QR code. So 9:23 on Raw did something. 9:23 on SmackDown might have done something. Yeah, I mean, look, 9:23 during Extreme Rules, be extra vigilant. But I can't say that right now I'm thinking it's going to lead to something because it was in blue. And that makes me think that it was meant to have been something for SmackDown. But, I mean, look, it's there's so much to take into consideration with the White Rabbit stuff. I wouldn't rule 9:23 out for Extreme Rules at all. So you could be onto something. How long have we got? 6 minutes to go. 6 minutes to go. Lister Jericho said, going to avoid the internet with Extreme Rules. Won't be able to watch it live. Legend Killer said, great stream. You are the best. Master Chief said, I hate the White Rabbit. Mr. DXZ said, there's no way for it to happen at 9:23 West Coast. SmackDown is over by then. Is that true? Does it not air at the same time, but just West Coast time? 9:23, not Eastern, but 9:23 Pacific. I don't know when SmackDown starts. I'm under the impression it just starts 8 Pacific time, the same as it does 8 Eastern time, which means they would have a 9:23 Pacific. You see, it said 9:23, but it did not say what time zone. I mean, it could be 9:23 flipping Asian time. I have no idea. Elizabeth, shout out to you. Sunny said, did you see the hurricane that made landfall? I got a video sent by Mitchell, and big shout out to Mitchell. Mitchell's been super supportive tonight as always. So Mitchell, really do appreciate it. But you know you don't need to be doing that, my friend. But Mitchell was kind enough to send a video that we played on stream, just showing like kind of the start of it, really. But no, I haven't seen anything other than that. But as we keep saying, stay safe if you are in the area. Lister Jericho said, I was in Vegas and completely forgot about the 3-hour time difference. John said, SmackDown starts at 7 Central Standard Time. That's the center, isn't it? That's interesting. That's different to the time it starts East Coast. So yeah, there wouldn't be a 9:23 for Central, but I don't know about Pacific. William said, I once saw a glory hole in a fence. Okay. Peeked over the fence. And that's how I met Tony Khan. Wow. Fake story. Okay. I'm glad you put that, because I think we were all about to be sued. So I'm pleased that you wrote that in the comment. James says, yowie wowie. Sonny said, couple of our community members are in the path. Hopefully they stay safe. Absolutely. As I said, I mean, it's difficult for me to talk about time zones, ratings, hurricanes, because I'm sat here in like the middle of the UK. So I do feel a bit disconnected from some of those things. But as I said, the BBC website, all jokes aside, is where I get my news from. And it's a major story on there. So I not only are you lot talking about it, but it's actually one of the top 3 stories on the BBC website right now. So something to do with the Treasury, something to do with mental health, and then live updates from the floods in Florida. So it is one of the top 3 big stories on the BBC. Oh, public can visit Queen's final resting place. Members of the public will be able to see the final resting place of Queen Elizabeth II as Windsor Castle reopens. Interesting. A general admission ticket will allow access to St. George's Chapel, which is in the castle grounds. I would probably do that if I went to London. Probably do that. I got distracted then by the BBC website. Sorry. Aren't we glad to be in the UK where we don't get weather like that? Oh, definitely. John said, my father and sister are down in Florida. The power is out. I hope they'll be okay. Listen, if you're in Florida, you are going to be used. I know it doesn't make it any easier, but you will be used to this kind of thing. I mean, these kind of hurricanes, we do hear about them on a sadly regular basis. So, they are fully prepared, I'm sure. People in Florida will have dealt with these kind of things before. And obviously, still scary and everything, but I'm sure they're as ready as you can be, as prepared as you can be. The big story should be a White Rabbit makes number 4, said Leo. Windsor Castle is not in London. It's a town in Windsor, about 20 miles west of London. Oh, I thought it was in London, to be honest. I thought Windsor was in London. Is it not part of London? Is it not like a district of London or a borough of London? Mr. DXE said American television usually goes Eastern Standard Time. It's live both Eastern and Pacific Time. It's not live West Coast. I've had people jump into... Do you know what? I had someone in the comments going, I can't believe that as it's shown Eastern Coast, East Time, that you put up videos of what happens. Like, how unfair to us on the West Coast. And I was like, how can I consider... Like, you cannot take that into consideration, can you? Like, how am I meant to take that? As if it airs, it airs. I mean, like, imagine no one being able to say anything about the show until it's aired everywhere around the world. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, guy, I would put a video out about White Rabbit, but the people in Singapore haven't watched it yet, so I'm gonna have to wait for them first. So yeah, apparently it does. Well, from what I'm told, unless I was being trolled, apparently it doesn't air live West Coast. Elizabeth said, thank you for tonight's watch along. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate the support. And actually, we might as well wrap it up. We've stuck around for about half an hour afterwards. So we've shared our thoughts and we are ready to move on. So yeah, awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for joining us. Hope you got out of this show whatever you could. And, I'm sure AEW will bounce back next week. If you thought this was a poor episode, I'm sure it's just a one-off. And I'm sure they'll be back with a bang next Wednesday. And we will be back. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow, but we will be back, obviously, Friday. Obviously, the next Clue with White Rabbit, for those of you that are into it. And I will see you then. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.